Peace, 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 and love, family tree. Oh man, let me know who's up in the building with me. I got my good brother. Yo, my good brother Respect is gonna be passing by momentarily to drop some powerful, powerful, powerful knowledge, some powerful wisdom. It's gonna be some gems that's gonna be sprinkled around everybody. You know, everybody can have a Bentley today, baby. Everybody. So, goddamn, let me know if you're gonna be in the building with me and you're gonna be having some awesome, awesome times. Like we're gonna be going to some powerful information. Trust me on this. I'm gonna just gas it up here for a hot second more. All right, because y'all need to know that this is gonna be something that yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. Now, let me get my brother Respect up in here. Yeah, give me a second, though, family tree. Let me get Respect because Respect is ready to just wait. Respect is telling me he's got some stuff that he needs to be getting off his chest. Yeah, so let me quickly get him up on here. All right, let me get him up on here. And then you already know it's going to be a mad, 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 mad thing. All right? Yo, Respect.
He was a tyrant. He was a criminal.
Hold on. Yo, Respect. You know we're ready for you, right?
He didn't even have the decency to respect the sanctity.
All right, come true. Quickly.
Are we off, yeah?
Because we're live right now, yeah? The members, everybody's just waiting for you. They're saying, where's Respect? Where's Respect? You got me? I got Kemo Ben Israel, Mashallah, Anfield, Mega True Talks up in the building, Marshall Mathers, Patrick Norman, Lexi, Ace Astri. But everybody's here waiting for you. Jay Boogie's up in the building. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Let's go with SDV, man.
Jeez.
I see, yo, a couple people in my comments are praising him. I can't really you know. I heard about this. Kind of admit to the chat. You know what? Respect, peace and blessings, bro, for having me on the show, man. Thank you very much. The link in the chat.
It's getting mad. It's getting mad, family. It's getting mad. So you already know, right? Respect and the whole crew. We got, the Black Telect, man like Shia Issa is going to be passing through as well. So it's going to be absolutely crazy. Right?
Peace, brother Kalam. You doing good?
I'm fine, my brother. Oh, good. See, look at that. We got Shia, the black intellectual Shia up in the building with us right now. God damn.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum, people. What's happening?
Mm-hmm.
Shalom.
Shalom to everyone. Peace to everyone,
What's the title of this show right here, brother?
Woo! Yo, Respect.
I'm trying to get in there now. I'm ending this call.
Yeah. Good. So yeah, this title is called Respect. Every Catholic can get it. Yeah. Every Catholic can get it.
Oh
man. Scholar.
All I'm gonna say is, let's get some heat.
True. But you know how we're gonna destroy the haters, right? The one way that we can destroy the haters, right, is by simply hitting the like button. If you want to destroy a hater, simply hit the like button. Back at it again. Ultra Funky's up in the building, starting it off with the donations and that. Shouts out to you. Jeez. Super chat. I just wish that my moderators wouldn't block Mobile, bruv, so I can have that Jizya war competition going on.
Yeah, man. Mods are moving mad.
Hey, yo, mods, man, I beg of you, stop blocking these people. All right, these are my day ones. All right. So, hey, your Respect. I think you just need to give like the overview of what we talking about. What do we mean that every Catholic can get it? What do we mean? Let me know if you're free, Respect. Let me know if you're free, because the people want to know.
I'm here. Big up the fire ones in the building. I see Lexi, I see Kima, I see my whole family in there. Yeah, basically, now there was a video made about me, you know what I'm saying? And then obviously you know, more time, I'm not too familiar with every concept. You get me? So there was something called hashtag Bara season. But I know Bara is something I've heard like a lot of people say Alra, Albara. And when they say it to man, it ain't like it's normally during some sort of passa or conflict. So I already kind of knew there was a different concept here. But then obviously I see a video. You get me? I know about. I got loads of that. There's so much troll videos, like, and it's people that claim to be Muslim. Like, I can't really call them Muslim because from my research, the Prophet came to perfect character. You get me? And these men seem the opposite of that. You know what I'm saying? So
We
from
don't,
the actions, from the actions I can see,
we don't call them Muslims, you know. We call them munafiq.
yeah,
Munafiq. Yeah. Go
all of
ahead.
all of them channels there, yeah, they're definitely Munafiq channels and they're not Muslim channels. So I can't really call these. I can't really say it's, but these men are claiming, and they're trying. And the thing is, they're trying to use Islam as their bandwagon. You get me? So whether man see them as Muslims or not, that's what they're trying to use. You know what I'm saying? So man, I just want to get a breakdown of some of these information, and I feel like that every Kaffir can get statements like that. I don't really feel like. I feel like that should make Muslims even tell someone, yo, chill out, because obviously man does a status saying every Muslim can get. You know what I'm saying? Man, even me, if I saw a status that says every Muslim can get, and people are like they're seriously trying to push something, I'm gonna condemn that. You get me? I'm gonna be like, how can you talk about every Muslim like that? You know what I'm saying? So to say every Catholic can get it, I feel like this is the exact thing that the like, you get me? People that don't, that genuinely don't like just everyone because of a religion. That's what they want on one hand, you get me? But then on a second hand, you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, man's been getting a lot of heat from my brothers like Ultra Funky, and you get me? Saying, yo, Russ, you're too nice, you get me? And I know what the plan is. The plan is to make man like react in a way that's different from my spiritual system teachers. You get me? So obviously, I'm not gonna make no man degrade me to that. But at the same time, I feel like it needs to just be like addressed and broken down, and I feel like the dangerousness of it needs to be highlighted as well. You get me? Because I feel like a lot of people will be like oblivious to what's really going on, but they're trying to use like code words, you know, like that. Trying to send for me using code words, like man will bait up your code words. I can't lie. You know what I'm saying?
Jeez. I like that. I like that. That's good. Let bait it all up, bruv. You know what? No matter if you're nice to them or no matter if you you know, go on a hard body with them, they've got a disease in their heart and they want everybody to come to hell with them. Right? They're the walking to body. That's what I'm gonna say.
And let me say something still, like, I've not, like, this, to be honest, yeah, this is just my opinion, but with what's happening with Ras right now, it's like, I've seen the same thing happening with Kalam. It's like a repeat, you know what I'm saying? Of where, yeah, Kalam was not trying to, like, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't trying to go at them. He wasn't trying to, like, even debate them. He was just, you know what I'm saying? As they say, that he used to chill and pray. He differs in his belief of what, you know what I'm saying? Call it Aikido or whatever, yeah. Because he's got a different belief system surrounding that, yeah. Like, it just, it's unacceptable. And, like, that just made him an enemy to some man. And now I see the same thing happening with the Ras. You know what I'm saying? Because, yeah, he's not trying to disrespect them, but because he's got a difference in belief, it's unacceptable. And, you hear me? I just think that's mad.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. I want to see if some of them would like to actually pop on here as well. So if some of you guys, right? Some of you guys, you know who's been spoken about. We're keeping it ambiguous for now. But if you want to come on and you want to defend something, let us know. Let us know.
Yo, Kalam, could I say something about that as well?
Yeah, go through.
Yeah, so you see, there's a lot of people nowadays, yeah, that basically this is my opinion, and I actually agree with what Brother Ezra is saying here. Before this whole respect, people attacking respect and stuff, yeah. Kalam, didn't you have people, yeah, like some Muslims attacking you before, like way before this whole respect thing? Didn't you have Muslims attacking you as well?
Yeah, 100%.
It's the same thing that's happening to Raspberry right now. So the way you felt before, Brother Kalam, I see that coming now to Raspberry, you know, and it's from the same people, yeah, that want to claim they're Muslim, but then on the other hand, yeah, they showing their true characters, you know. Like for example, yeah, they wanna be slandering brothers, they wanna be slandering sisters, yeah. And from my point of view, man's looking at it and like, is this how a Muslim should act? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, yeah, if a Muslim, any Muslim, yeah, slanders another Muslim or a non-Muslim, yeah, man can't have respect for that person anymore. Yeah, especially when you're lying about the person and then you go to their families, fam. If you go to a man's family, there ain't no respect coming from nobody. No one will have respect for that person. You see where I'm coming from, Brother Kalam?
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
But this is the thing, brothers, that one of the things I've been warning the brothers about is the principles that these people hold on to. And that is the devaluation of everyone they deem to either not be Muslim at all, i.e., so-called Kaffirs in their view, and other people they deem to be deviants. According to them, that you can slander, you can lie, you can steal from them, you can perpetrate violence against them. Anything goes from the Sunni Kafir, right, perspective against anyone else who doesn't fit into their little club or their big club, so to speak. And you have to remember, this is a religion that is about oppression and conquest. It's as simple as that. So when you think of everything that they do, it's just a supremacist ideology, and it produces dumb zombies who feel threatened by anyone who's got the intellectual potency to give them that work. It's as simple as that. When brothers keep asking questions, and when they give answers, you ask subsequent questions to those answers. And they just sense that they, no matter how much books they read, no matter how much scholar garbage they listen to on the internet, whatever it is, they can't back up their claims. They always end up to a point of contradicting and refuting themselves. And that frustration gets to a point where, okay, they're either, because this point in a normal human being, the normal human being would start to have doubt in that garbage. It would be right, that doesn't make sense. That person's asked me all these questions. I'm supposed to have the religion of the Most High, all-knowing God, but a human being has just refuted it. So the human being must be greater than their God, or at least their concept of God. And that's where they're at this point now, that we can refute them at any time. So they'll be walking away. You know, people will be, each other will advise each other. Don't speak to him. He'll ask certain questions that will cause doubt in your heart, and then it'll be on YouTube, and it will cause doubt in other Muslims' heart or Sunnis' hearts, etc. So now what the next step is, they're going to seek to try and silence us, seek to try and intimidate us into silence, and if not, perpetrate violence. That's what I feel is.
Yeah, I definitely hear you. One thing I have to say about my personal situation is there's a lot of Muslims at the park that are definitely free from this. You get me? As in, from the Shamsis,
Isa.
obviously, you know, the Shabazz,
Isa
brother Isa, definitely brother Isa, my brother Liban, Lady in the Ville, Shani. There's a lot of Muslims that go down there to genuine discuss, and they don't get up into the skullduggery that's going on in the background. Yeah. But what we're addressing right now is the people that ain't doing that, and a specific group. Now, when you're talking about silence, I know exactly about that, because even with my channel, for example, like trolls on trolls. Obviously, I know Kalam's been through it too. You get me, fam? Trolls on trolls, just trying to get man strikes. You know what I'm saying? To the point where man had to create a whole new channel. Right? That's what I'm saying. Because like the way they're just hitting up man's channel, it's like man's not meant to have a voice out here. You get me? And obviously, this ain't just because I got a difference of opinion. Yeah, I'd say that a part of this is because certain badness that other people are doing in the backgrounds, man's bucked upon. But man ain't really a guy that tries to go out here on some expose this guy. That's not really my nature. But what you got is people, just the fear of that has got people going extra hard. That's why you're seeing an extra wave onto Respect right now, because you get me. But anytime I do expose, I ain't gonna lie. A lot of you on the panel are Muslims, even though you might be different types of Muslims and this and that. Yeah, my thing ain't really. I'm not really on the ideology except for wickedness and unrighteousness, and I don't care what a man claims his label in front of that to be. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like sometimes a man will like use a religion, like it's like a man will start his own personal confrontation with someone, or doesn't like someone because of personal issues, and then when he gets into the something with those personal issues, it's like he tries to use his religion to go and
Get back in.
go back to battle. You know what I'm saying? So it's like me getting into a passer and trying to get gang involved or bring Jedi. Like this whole thing, man ain't phoned Jedi once. I ain't phoned no one. This is my little battle that man's dealing with. It ain't got nothing to do with no one else. You know what I'm saying, fam? Because that's how man move. I don't move insecure. You know, like that. A lot of these people are very insecure. That's why they hide behind profiles. Even me, anything I do, one thing, all of my haters out there, one thing they have to respect about me is my things on my own thing. I say it for my own face, and they know where to find me on Sunday if you don't like it. Like a lot of these people hide behind fake profiles. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
So, I would like to say something, you know what I'm saying, with regard to all of that. You know what I mean?
Excuse me, Mike, quickly. I need to just, first of all, say, there's a few people that's been trying to get onto the panel. Yeah. We will be getting a few of you guys on a little bit later on, but right now we're just trying to keep it as small as possible, even though the panel looks pretty full right about now. Okay. So a little bit later on, halfway through the show, we shall be giving out the links. One thing I need to get you guys to do is, of course, hit the like button, show us some love. If you love Respect, show us the love and support either by hitting up the like button, or you could do, what Respect does best. Give us the fire ones, baby. Give us the fire ones. All right? You heard? Fire ones, baby. Fire ones. And of course, right? Panel members, the rules on Titans TV, just keep your mics muted at all times. Rule number 2, respect each other's cipher. Rule number 3, okay, is please no profanity or ad hominems at all. Right? Let's try to keep it as neat as possible. All right? As neat as possible. All right, Saeed. Go ahead, King.
Appreciate you, brother. I heard, the bill, you know what I'm saying? So I said, okay, I hear everybody talking about what it could be, in terms of why they attacking brother Respect. But as Muslims, we haven't used the literature to really justify the reason why it's happening. So let me just remind the brothers, because they say the reminder benefits the believer. So, according to the hadith, the prophet said, in the last day, you will know you were in the hour when knowledge decreases and ignorance increases, so much so to where the scholars are evil. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in chapter 3, verse number 104, let there arise amongst you a group calling to the good and forbidding the evil. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that there's 3 ways that you can change your evil. Change it with your hands, change it with your mouth, or hate it in your heart. Now, I heard some of the members on the panel talk about character and slander. Now, when you take the bayat, or when you take the shahadatain, ati ulaha wa ati ur-rasul, obey Allah, obey the messenger. Now, Allah says oppression is greater than slaughter. Right now, today, in 2018, there's 1 million people dead in Yemen. Right now, today in Palestine, our brothers and sisters are behind barbed wire fences. They cannot go in and out this city without being hemmed up by these military beasts. Right now, today in Syria, America is dropping bombs on our people. And what are we doing in England and America but talking about people slandering us on YouTube? You got to really think about your actions. I'm speaking for myself too. But we as Muslims in the West, we're not going through the type of oppression that our brothers and sisters are going through in the East. We have to think about our character. Because is this the real character of Muhammad? Right? Oppression is greater than slaughter, Allah says. Allah hates oppression. Let there arise amongst you a group calling to the good and forbidding the evil. There are 3 ways that we can change evil: with your hands, your mouth, or hate it in your heart. How many of you on the panel, how many of you have actually changed it with your heart in your city? Have you gone out and said, yo, fire burn the Salafis? They're not doing nothing but dropping bombs on Yemen. Have anybody y'all done that? Have anybody been really going into these social media groups and trying to wake up the Muslims, Sunni, Shiite, whatever you are, trying to get our brothers and sisters to say, yo, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trialing us? How about y'all think about the backlash of not standing up for your deen? Perhaps we are all slandering the prophet.
Yes,
Perhaps
we have, bro.
everything that's happening to respect is a direct result of us not standing up for Yemen. Perhaps what's happening to Brother Kalam is a direct result of us not standing up for Syria. We call ourselves Muslims, but we're not doing nothing for them. That's why when I hear y'all say character, really? We all are on the damn judgment seat. All of us. We are all on the hot fire seat talking about Islam, but we got our brothers and sisters over there dying, and we ain't doing a damn thing about nothing. We really look weak over here, man. This Islam, we looking sorry. And I just have to say that, man, because whatever you're going through, respect, I'm telling you, the prophet said that in the last hour, you will know, because the scholars forbid. Think about it. Look at us. We all like 30 years old, 25. We probably all in our 30s. We young men, black men suffering from the dysphoria of what happened to us as a people. But now our scholars are not telling us what to do. Like, this is some basic stuff. Oppression is greater than slaughter. You can change evil three ways. Like, this is stuff that you learn in elementary. But why are the scholars not telling us what to do in terms of Yemen? Because they failed us. So now we as Muslims are thinking that we on the hawk. We think we following Islam. We think we're doing the right thing, but we're not doing nothing. And now Allah's punishing us for it. That's why you got these brothers making videos on you, because we ain't doing nothing. And I just want to say that because, like, Go ahead.
One second. Let me say one thing.
Ezra, wait, please. Ezra, please. Okay. First thing, brother, I want to let you know that the people in Yemen, in Palestine and Syria, have they ever made any kind of outcry when our ancestors were getting raped, lynched, whatever else, in the 1950s, 1940s, 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s? Were these people screaming and shouting for our plight?
Exactly what I was going to say.
I don't remember none of that. Right, and we got our own things right here, bruv. I'm not exactly sure what you think we should do, but brother, RASPECT for one is putting in the work for the people that are dying here.
Issa, you got the wrong end of the stick. He's saying that the brothers that are attacking us, when brothers are dying in Yemen and Syria, these men ain't talking.
I'm sure he was saying this is why. Okay, brother, have I got the wrong? It sounded like he was saying the reason why. No, because he said something as if to say that sort of you and I, or the reason why things are happening to you and Kalam is because your thing is small. In other words, you're complaining about this on YouTube. That's a minor thing. We collectively should be shouting out about Yemen, Syria.
I don't think that's what you were saying. Yo, brother, can you clarify, Said?
Clarify that, please.
What I'm saying is, what I said, well, everything that I just said was strictly Quran and Sunnah. Now, what this brother said was, as his counteract was, but what about everything that we've been through? Did they scream out for us?
No, brother, could you?
So basically, what you're saying is, because they didn't scream out for us, because they didn't scream out for us, we should not help Yemen. That's what you're saying, right?
We're going to move to that in a minute, brother Side. All I want you to clarify.
Yeah, and he's speaking over the guy.
Wait, no, because he's going down somewhere else. Said, I just want you to clarify.
Else because the brother Ross made it clear. The brother Ross made it clear. I'm saying that we as Muslims, we're talking about what's happening to Ross, what's happening in his life in terms of Muslims attacking him. But I'm saying we have not even looked at our own actions in terms of our duties as Muslims. And I'm saying perhaps this is the reason why it's happening to him, because the prophet told us in the last hour that these things will be occurring. The decrease of knowledge, the Dajjal, the fitna of the Dajjal, all these things are happening right now in the midst of us. And we talking about these things like this is not, this 1 million people dead in Yemen.
Right. So I heard this is what I'm saying. So
what
I understand
doing about it here in England and America. Right. I'm telling you, here in America, you know what Muslims are doing in America? They're going to Starbucks, brother. That's what they're going to do. They're going to Starbucks and they're starting their businesses.
Oh, all right. I would say this to you. The brothers you're speaking to in general, as far as I know, is black brothers here. So that's Kalam, that's brother Medicine Man, that's brother Ezra, obviously brother Raspect, and brothers that I know that are on this panel at the moment, I've known for a good while. We're all putting in the work.
Excuse me, bro. You didn't say my name when you said Black Brothers, bro.
So brother, brother Ultra Funk. Unfortunately, I don't know much about brother Ultra Funky and what he's doing. But anyway, the brothers that I do know about are people that do care about the black community and the lives being lost in the black community and others. But particularly, we're supposed to look after our own first, so to speak. And I'm saying they're doing what they can, and majorly. If you hear Brother Raspect talk about what he has to do with his time to preserve the life and try and prevent lives being taken in the black community. So he's already doing, because at the end of the day, that's a war. That's what's going on there. When a youth of 14 or 15 has to leave his house thinking, shit, I might get stabbed, that's war. You understand? That's absolutely no different than youths in the other countries having to dodge bullets and so on and so forth. Same thing. Their lives are just as equal. I basically...
Are you comparing Yemen to what the youth in London are facing?
That's the amount. No, calm down. We're having he's talking about what's happening here. I mean, you can take yourself and go and blow yourself up. You a Sunni, you can do what the hell you want.
You're stupid, man. You're an idiot, bro. Shut up.
I'm talking about the duties of a Muslim.
Come on, family tree. We already said it before, right? We're trying to keep this as possible, right? And I don't want one person to kind of, be on the channel for far too long, right? So, we got some of the choice meats up on the panel right about now, right? The only person, there's a couple people that we're missing from the mix right now. We're missing, 9 Ether. We're also missing, the kings, one of the kings themselves. Yeah, Big Belly, that should have been up in the building as well, right? But I wanted Respect to go in on a few things, right? And I wanted us to touch on a few subjects. I want to touch upon, every Kaffir can get it. I wanted to touch on what exactly is a Kaffir. Who the you calling a Kaffir, dog? Who the you calling a Kaffir? And I want to get into this, man. I want to get into this whole Bara seasons. And I wanted to talk about these things, man. So I don't know if Respect can just kind of guide the conversation in a way that we can just kind of discuss these things or kind of shed light on the mentality that's circulating within inside of the Speaker's Corner community and within inside of the community at large. Help me on that, man. Help me on that.
Well, I think
that ain't Islam, yo. That ain't Islam. I'm out, yo. That ain't Islam. That was some fuck shit right there. I'm gone. Peace.
Yo, Saeed.
What's up with him?
Yo, Saeed.
Yo, man was hard fan for a Shia,
Yeah, I don't know what that was about, man. Brother, I want to know, why is there so many different interpretations of the word Kaffir?
Let's get Raspect to finish what he was saying. Please, Raspect, continue, please, brother.
No, I feel like it would be good to ask. I wanted that other brother, Country. I know he's Aki, his opinion. Like, what do you man think about statements like that? Like, especially my Muslim brothers, like, every Kaffir can get it. Like, what do you think? Like, is it just me? Is it very extreme? Like, what do you not think about it?
Can you elaborate on it? When you be detailed, like, number one, what do you mean by get it? Number two, who are you classifying as a Kaffir?
Okay, let me get the video.
Remember, can't play the video. Don't play the video. But it seems as though a certain individual, is kind of speaking some type of war talks, right? On the video, if you go into the description box, it says quite clearly, every Kaffir can get it, right? And it also talks about that it's Bara season, right? It's time to separate the wheat from the chaff. It's time for us to be striking down the necks of certain individuals, whether we're talking literally or metaphorically. I will rather lean to the metaphorical standpoint, but you never know with certain individuals, right? But I rather lean to the metaphorical standpoint. So it seems as though, right?
Yo, I think they've taken the every Kaffir can get it out now. I'm sure I screenshotted that shit.
Yeah. So, and it seems as though that these individuals are takfiris, right? So I guess that, for example, a Shia would be classified as a Kaffir. in their point of view. A Christian is a Kaffir in their point of view. A Jew is a Kaffir in their point of view. A Kemet is a Kaffir in their point of view. A Sikh is a Kaffir in their point of view. An atheist, like there are so many people that's a Kaffir in their point of view. And it seems as though that it's literally talking about we're gonna go hard body, we're gonna go brutal, we're gonna slander people, we're gonna lie on them, and we're gonna create these types of slanderous videos to downgrade these individuals or to ragdoll these individuals, it seems. But you let me know. You let me know. What do you think, Respect?
I'm just looking for the thing right now, I'm looking for the original thing. But yeah, and can we go deeper into what this Barra season means?
I think first of all, let's go into the word Kaffir.
Right, yeah,
somebody, I think Nino kind of put it up there. So it would be wonderful to get it from, first of all, a Sunni, hopefully a Salafi perspective. What is Kaffir? When you say somebody's a Kaffir, what does it mean?
Yeah, can I answer? I'll give whatever I know about the word. So in Islam, when we define terms, we do it from two perspectives. We do it from a language perspective and we do it from a technical perspective, which is called istilahan and laghu. Yeah. So in the language, a lot of people are wary of the fact that to commit kufr or to be a kafir is similar to that of a farmer. And it comes from that word that when a farmer plants a seed so deep in the ground that it's covered up, so it's to cover up. That's where the word comes from a language perspective, from that kind of activity. But from a technical perspective, which is what is important and which is what we're talking about here, it's to cover the truth so deep within one's soul and heart, such that they themselves now do not recognize it. So when we say somebody's a kafir, we're actually saying they're not unaware of the truth, rather they know the truth and they're rejecting it and concealing it. And kufr also is the opposite of the word shukr in Arabic, which means gratefulness and gratitude, yeah? So kufr, the word kufr can also be seen as ingratitude to the greatest extent. So what we've taken from that is that kufr and to be a kuffar is a person who is ungrateful to their creator and conceals and rejects the truth to such an extent that they become the most evil of creatures on the earth, which is a kafir. And there's no worse word than a kafir, and you can't be anything worse than a kafir, which is why when people get into the argument about what about pedophiles, what about murderers, all of these sins are highly condemned in the Quran and in the Islamic discourse. However, when it comes to disbelieving in the Creator, that's of another magnitude, and that simply
it's not disbelieving in the Creator. It's not disbelieving in the Creator, the Prophet Muhammad, the companions, and the scholars' teachings. Let's be honest. It's not just the Creator, because a lot of people believe in the Creator, but in your view, it goes beyond the Creator to the Prophet Muhammad. Yeah, he's becomes a partner in that or a part of that, and then the Prophet with the Prophet Muhammad, you have to believe in the companions, and then depending if you're Sunni or Shia, you do with the first three or the last one, and then with the companions, you have to take the scholarly interpretations. You know what I'm saying? So like it's more than just someone who being a kuffar in your eyes is more than someone who just doesn't believe in the Creator. Someone can give thanks to the Creator every day. If they don't believe in certain men, that's when you say they're a kuffar. Am I right or wrong?
So RASPECT makes a good and a true and a solid point that it's not necessarily to believe in a Creator which makes you a Muslim and which stops you from being a kafir, because in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not even address the atheist. He does not even consider him in his refutation of them, in his warning of them. That is because those people in their disbelief have gone to a level which is stupid. It's gone to a level which God doesn't even deem it worthy to address them. Why is that? Because every human being in their logic, no matter how much they conceal the truth, cannot deny one thing. Yeah. and that's that they've been created. Because it's quite simple. You either created yourselves, you were created from nothing,
That's what I'm saying.
or you were
you're
created. Hang on.
Hold on, let me
Hang
just
on.
correct that. Let me just correct
Hang
that
on.
before you reply, Respect, because
Hang on.
that's not quite
What are
accurate.
you trying to correct right now?
What you just said. Shall I read the
What's
verse?
that? What verse?
I'll read it. I'll read it. It's chapter 2, Surah Baqarah, verse 28. Allah says, "How can you disbelieve in Allah, seeing that you were dead and He gave you life? Then
Yeah.
He will give you death. Then again will bring you to life, and then unto Him you will return." So these are people that actually disbelieve in Allah. Full stop. So these are, when it says kafir, it means they reject Allah outright. So I'm just saying,
No. This is not people who don't acknowledge. This is why we define terms at the beginning, because we're not saying that disbelieving means to not be aware of or to not understand. We're not saying that. We're saying kufr means something a lot deeper than that. It's to conceal, it's to reject, it's to be ungrateful. Nobody in their right mind doesn't acknowledge their creator. Nobody. Everybody has a relationship with him from when they've
So
grown
that's
up.
the point.
Simple as that.
No, I was just addressing the point where you said Allah does not address that point and so on. So I was saying Allah directly addresses that point, saying, how can you disbelieve in Allah when you were dead and He gave you life? So the point is, Allah does go and make the argument against them. You know,
No, this is my point, because He's talking to the ones who disbelieve in Him, not the ones who don't acknowledge Him.
So wait there.
You understand?
So if you like the Rasta was saying, so from what your explanation of it, is that anyone who disbelieves in the Creator is a Kaffir, innit? So the people that don't disbelieve in the Creator are automatically not Kaffirs, unless you're saying that Allah has partners, and if you don't believe in these partners, then that also makes you a Kaffir. Which one is it?
No, so I don't know where you just got all of that from.
Listen.
What I'm trying to say is that the one who disbelieves in Allah does not necessarily have to not acknowledge His existence, bro. For example, an atheist is an ultimate kafir. That's no doubt.
But you're not understanding what I'm talking. I heard you say that bit. I heard that. But
So
what I'm saying
you
is,
getting?
I'm addressing the people here, like me, Rasta, all these people
who know the Creator. Yeah, you know Him, and that, of course.
There's a Creator. Yes.
Yeah, I know you believe in His existence. Yeah, carry on.
Just listen to my question. So what I'm saying is, people like us who accept and believe in this Creator, even God's fathers knowing they're created, how can they be Kafirs then? So unless Allah has partners, unless the Creator has partners,
Beautiful question, because the Shahada is La ilaha illallah. It's not La khaliq ilaha illallah. La khaliq illa Allah. Do you get it? So the Shahada is not saying there is no creator except Allah. It's saying there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah. So anybody who don't submit to the Creator in their worship, not only in their acknowledgement of His existence, is a kafir. Is a disbeliever.
But would you do that though?
That's why I said Ila Sabanchi. My God, why have you forsaken me? Elijah, God is Yahweh. Yeah, Eli. That's where the Eli comes from. Elisha means God is my salvation. Yeah. So like this Allah, Salam, Haq, Tawheed, bro. We've been worshiping one God with this concept. When man was in Saudi Arabia, I've got to be 100% with you, Aki. So when you superimpose these things and act like the first time this was happening, the Quran clearly shows you that is the unchanged sunnah from Moses. So then you know that there must be if there's an unchanged sunnah from Moses, then there must be something that Moses was doing. You know what I'm saying? And there's some people that represent that. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
and the thing is,
personally, your definition of kafir is a bit shirky, And the reason why I say it's shirky is because, like I said, your definition of kafir isn't not just believing in the Creator. It's you put partners with the Creator, and quite a lot of them, if I'm being honest, and then you say even that they don't believe in the Creator. So, like, it's either man, and the Prophet, like he said, was just a warner, and he came to show man to believe in one God. Just like Isa came to show man to believe in one God. What did the Christians do? They put Isa as an intermediary between them and the Most High. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing you're seeing over here as well. There's people in the middle. Whereas, you know what I'm saying? At one point, people might have thought they needed the idols to connect to the Most High. Now people might feel like they need the scholars to connect to the Most High. But for me, like, and the teaching that I've got, like, all you do is worship the Most High. That's first. Everything else is secondary to that. And anything else that anyone's teaching me, other than just worshiping the Most High, you know what I'm saying? It sounds a bit shirky.
100.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
Hold on, Omar. 1 second, right? Because I want us to all learn something today, right? And I'm very grateful to actually have the brother Omar actually on the panel with us, right? So Omar, you said something that was very interesting earlier on, which I want us to kind of do this, so everybody on here can kind of learn together, right? You said earlier on about the word kaffir, right?
Kaffir or kufr, yeah, they both come from the same root. So yeah, let's do it.
Let's do that. So we got kafara or kafir, kafara, kafir. Yeah, let's do kafir. Okay.
Okay.
You know, for everybody to kind of learn. You said earlier on that there is two. There is the lugha. Okay. Let's just do this, right? What's going on with my typing? All right. That's like the linguistic. That's like the language, right? Correct?
Yeah.
And you also have something called the Sharia. What did you call the istilaha? Terminologies, right? Istilaha. Tell me if I'm spelling it right, yeah?
That's fine. It's with an I after the T.
Right. And that is like the terminology terms, right? This is terms.
Technical.
Terms, technical. All right. So, you know, you gave us something. So could you just, you know, teach us, right? You're teaching us right now. Just keep it short and sharp. If you can give us, like, what does the word kafir actually mean?
Right. So kafir from a linguistic perspective means to cover.
Okay.
You can leave it at that for now. Yeah.
Is that it? Simply it? Just cover?
That's fine. Cover very deep. Like, of course, the Arabic, we could go into it for hours, but if you want to keep it simple.
Let's say cover, conceal.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, to be in ingratitude.
No. Ingratitude would be the opposite of, yeah, that's a logwa term, but only when you're speaking in relative terms to the word shukr, which means gratitude. Yeah.
Okay.
So in the language, you have opposite terms in Arabic, yeah, which mean the opposite of each other. I'm trying to think of another example, but kufr and shukr, in the Arabic, some scholars have said it's they are opposite terms to each other. So that's why disbelief has been linked to the word ingratitude as well as disbelief. You get it?
Yeah. So cover, conceal, let's say ingratitude, to deny something. There's a lot of terminology for it. Like, I'm actually going to share my screen so we can all kind of learn together. So this is right here. We've got the Lane's Lexicon Dictionary that I've got up here. We can actually go to the, you know, the normal, how can I put it, modern standard Arabic, right? It's got cover, hide, be religious, and so forth, right? But the actual meaning of the word, as the brothers quite rightly said, is kufr or kafir. Okay, it means to veil, to conceal, to hide, to cover a thing, you know, or he covered something, to destroy it, he covered it, and so forth, right? That's kind of what it means, right? To cover something. Are we good with that? Just means kind of to cover?
It's a good basis for the discussion because it's defining the language term, yeah.
Yep, all right, perfect. So we've got here to cover, all right? I'm actually going to just remove all of these ones, right? Can we move them and we'll just have one word, cover? All right. So in the istilaha, can you give us some, you know, what does it actually mean?
So reject the truth, disbelief to the creator, ingratitude, to deny, to, yeah, these are the best terms I'd say.
I think a nice one would just simply be reject the truth.
Reject the truth.
Reject the truth, right? That's kind of like a nice one, right? So let's have that here. Reject the truth.
But for those who don't know, what's this Istar like?
So
It
it's
just
basically
means
the
technical,
terminology
basically.
or the technical usage. So lugha
Basically,
means language, and then istilaha means like the technical terms.
So what it means is contextualizing
Oh,
it
is
in
that
terms
like
of the
biblical
religion.
usage in the
Yeah,
lexicon?
so the religious usage, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Terminology. Let me keep this terminology very easy.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go. All right. So we're all
But
on
isn't
the.
that still like down to men? Like if the language, yeah.
So that's going to be the second point, right? How did the okay? So we know what it means in the language, right?
Yeah.
In the modern usage, in the actual usage. Let's just say, the prophet is speaking now to his flock. He's speaking to the layman. He's speaking to the Quraysh. He's speaking to the pagans. Speaking to the Christians, and he says, Kaffir. Okay, they would understand it in the lugha to mean cover. All right. But where did this terminology, when did this istilaha actually develop? Do you know?
Right. So it's quite simple. Because you're saying that when Allah spoke the verses, that the people would have understood it from a language perspective, yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
that's quite a good. That's quite a reasonable thing to think, because the first time you hear something, you're gonna go upon it based upon what you've heard of that term before in your life, which would have only been for those Arabs, pagan Arabs, to have been something similar to what a farmer does with his seed. Yeah. But what you're asking me is, so how does that relate to the technical aspect that we've derived? So it's quite simple. It's if they have that basis for a farmer putting a seed so deep within the ground, etc., as a basis for their thinking before the revelation, then after the revelation, when they hear that word, straight away they're gonna think of that. But when the context is speaking about something like going to hell as a result of planting that thing that is being addressed so deep, then it's going to warn that person that whatever you're being told here that you shouldn't plant basically and cover is a deep, very
Let me,
large
let me
thing to do.
let's see if I can
Yeah,
help you out quickly, right?
go
If I can
on.
help you out quickly, could I simply say, right, by utilizing what's they call it, Quran Bil Quran. Quran Bil Quran, what does that mean?
What?
Can I say that basically it's like we can understand the meaning based upon the context of the
Kalam,
Quran.
can I say one thing?
So,
Exactly. That's
so
the
every time,
first.
hold on, Ezra. So every time the Quran uses it, we can kind of gauge the context as to what it means, right?
That's the first way to understand it, yeah, by the Quran itself, because verses explain themselves, other verses explain other verses, hadiths explain verses. Then the Sahaba, do you know there's a hierarchy of tafsir that we have to go to before we go to the language itself, because there's a lot of things which come above that. You
So
understand?
Quran explains, the hadiths expound, and then what else? So we got the
So the
Quran.
Quran by itself, then
Mhm.
the hadiths, and then we have the Sahaba by consensus, then we have the Sahaba by themselves individually, and then but these are things which praise be to God have been documented, yeah, in the past 1400 years. And this is why nobody can come and give their own interpretation of the Quran, because all of this hierarchy has covered, yeah, the limitations of the explanation, which is why the Shias, the Sufis, and all the other sects, they have nothing to stand on, because everything has been explained to
All
such
right,
an
right.
extent.
So,
Yeah.
so
I
no
let
ad
me
hom.
let me let me
No ad
give
hom.
one thing there, Titus, in relation to where Allah says "Kul ya ayyuhal kafirun."
Mhm.
It's possible and probable that they would have used a similar phraseology as a collective. So some people might say, "Oh, they didn't refer to them as the Kafirs like we do today." It's more than likely that they did, especially with that kind of phraseology. Do you know what I mean? I know for us, it's sort of like we're English speakers, so it's a label we're getting from another language to call another group of people, like infidel, for instance. But it seems with that one verse, anyway, that one sentence, oh, you who disbelieve or who reject. I think it's similar to the Christian word infidel, where you can label a whole group of people. But I'm just throwing that out there to see what going.
All right, so let's gain an understanding, right? So we got this term.
I just got a little bit of delay on my screen here. You get me? So this is the thing.
Let's go.
Every Kaffir can get it. Barasi, you get me? You can see it right there, and you get me. And I was baffed at the response. Like I was thinking, blood, there should have been much more. You get me?
I already know if I said that about Muslims, right? If I said that about Muslims, god damn.
Oh, I'd be getting onto you. I'd be like, yo, why are you saying every Muslim can get it, fam? Like that.
Yeah.
So it should be like there should be more people over there still, if I'm honest. Yeah, that's a nuts.
I can't see that though. All I'm seeing is Bara season right now.
Yeah, look, published on the 3rd of December. Every Kaffir can get it. Every Kaffir. And that, this does unknown. Yeah. All the Kaffirs are in the same box now. Like, this is what I'm saying. This feeds right into this Islamophobia thing that man them are always complaining about. You know what I'm saying? And people like this, they put all the Kaffirs in the same block. You get me? Like, obviously, you know what I'm saying, fam? Like, you're creating a scenario. Like that.
Look, man, like, how can I say it, man? Like, it's not that deep. Even though what he's saying is stupid, I agree. Me and him have had the way he speaks to me is not that nice, to be honest. But anyway,
I'm gonna wipe his bum with your list.
I want to stay away from the personals, though. Let's stay away from the personals. Yeah, back into let's get educated. Yeah, when the brothers call you these names, right? What they're talking to, right? And why are they calling you these names? All right, let's get into that. So far we understand that the word, from the language itself means to cover, but when we're talking it from an Islamic perspective, it means to reject the truth. And we understand this via the Quran, and we also understand this via the Hadiths and the disciples, otherwise known as the Sahabas or the companions. Right? I'm just moving on this. There might be something much more complex and detailed with it, but let's just stay there with it. All right. So now, I want to know for you guys, from you, my brother, are Jews considered to be Kafirs?
So we have Jews and Christians who we consider people of the book. Some of them who the scripture is revealed on, and when they hear about it and when they hear the verses, they recognize it to be the scripture which they know very well, and they recognize the prophet to be someone who they know very well also. These Jews and Christians accept the verses that they hear from the Quran, and then they believe in it, and then they believe in the Prophet Muhammad. These people are saved. Yeah, we consider them our brothers, our Muslims. However, the majority who we know of are Jews and Christians who reject the Prophet Muhammad, and they know about the Prophet Muhammad, and they know about the Quran, and they don't accept it. These people are kafirs. They are disbelievers. However, the ones who only know of the Bible,
give us, the people of the Bible? Let's quickly do this, right? So, the question is, are the people of the Bible?
Are you still sharing right now, by the way, Kalam? Because are you still screen sharing? Because I can't see your screen right now.
No, so I wasn't, but yeah. So are the people of the Bible Kafirs? And you said you gave us a criteria. So can you give us the criteria again?
Right. So the ones who, when they hear the verses of their Lord, they recognize it and they accept it.
Okay. So those who recognize, so basically you have to recognize that the Quran from God.
No. So that's not what I mean. What I mean is that the people who hear the verses, they accept them, right? So it's not that they it's okay. So the recognition is something natural, yeah, because of the knowledge, pre-knowledge that they already have, yeah. So it's not to say that if they don't recognize it, or they act as if they don't recognize it, that this is going to be sufficient for their salvation. That's not what this means. Yeah, what it means is that there's absolutely no doubt that the sincere ones amongst their groups, if they hear them, they will accept it. Yeah, and if they don't, then there's no doubt that they've disbelieved in it. Okay,
Okay,
is that
so
clear?
those who hear the Quran,
They're Muslim. That's it.
Yeah, if
So-
they accept the verses, yeah, of course, they have to believe in the
So
Prophet Muhammad.
that means they're not Christians and they're not Jews, are they?
Once
good
they
point.
accept the verses, then they'll be considered Muslims in our faith. Yeah.
Let me hear you correctly though. I just want to get this correct. So, in order for the people
But the
of the
Quran says,
hold on. In order for the people of the book to not be Kaffir, they need to accept the verses. What else?
So they need to believe in them in totality, and everything that comes with them, and they can no longer distinguish between the verses and the prophets, and they have to believe in all of them. So they have to believe in the Prophet Muhammad. They have to believe he is a prophet. Yeah. And anything which is in contradiction to the Quran from now,
but you know what it is? Let me say one
can't
thing, yeah.
accept
You know
anymore.
what it is?
Their criteria now is the Quran
Yo,
or their scripture, yeah. So when they read the Bible now, it's only gonna
but
be
you know what?
as a cross-reference to the
But
Quran.
he's lying. You know you're lying. You're lying.
Right, okay.
Yo, listen. The Quran says to the children of Israel to uphold. Listen, it tells the children of Israel to uphold the covenant that was given to them. Yeah, what was given to them? The covenant of Moses underneath the cloud with the blood. Yeah, the Quran weren't given to the Israelites. The Quran tells you itself. It was sent to Mecca and the surrounding cities. It was not sent to Israelites.
He sent to the whole
The
mankind.
Quran clearly tells the Israelites to uphold their covenant, and Allah will uphold His part. So, what are you talking about?
Well, I'm
This is what I'm
talking
saying.
about
Like, people are just
verses
making
in the
stuff up.
Quran.
Go with what the Quran. What did Allah actually say? Listen. Wait there. Let me finish, bro. Let me finish. I'm saying, what did Allah actually say? Yeah, this is where it's all shirky. This is the point. Yeah, you're going away from what Allah actually said, and you're following scholars. Yeah, this is shirk, fam. Yeah, Allah
Right.
said He gave the Israelites a covenant and to uphold their covenant.
No.
Do you want the verse? You get me?
No,
So what
you
on
can
about? How
provide
we
a verse.
Kafirs all of a sudden? That don't make no sense.
Provide a verse. But the
So-
Quran is sent for the whole of mankind. You know that, innit?
So hold on. Before we go there, right? So basically, all right, if the people of the Bible, okay, do not accept the verses in the Quran, do not believe in them, right, and do not believe Muhammad is a prophet, then therefore they are going to be called Kafirs, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So do they need to accept the whole of the Quran or just various different bits of the Quran? So if you say
No.
Qul Allahu Ahad, and I say, yeah, Allah is or God is one. Can I do that, or do I need to accept Surah Al-Baqarah, Alif, Lam, Mim, Ba, Ma, and so forth? Do I need to do that?
Come on, man.
Which one is it?
All of it.
You
You
have
have
to
to accept
accept
all of it.
everything,
You have to accept every single word in the Quran.
every
Yes.
letter.
Okay, so therefore, like, when you lot are converting people, right?
No,
And I'm pretty sure you don't read the whole Quran to them, do you?
nope.
No. So technically speaking, can those people be considered to be? Are they not still Kafirs then?
No, they're just not learned yet.
So you can be a Muslim, all right, without knowing the whole of the Quran. But a person who is the people of the book needs to know the whole Quran before they jump out the boat of being a Kafir. Is that what you're telling me?
Sorry, can you rephrase that?
Okay. So, right, you got, people who are converting to Islam, right? They don't need to know the whole of the Quran in order to become Muslims,
Nope.
right? Or to become non-Kafirs.
Mm-hmm.
But person of the book, i.e. the Bible, they need to, first of all, read the whole Quran and accept the whole Quran in order for them to not be a kafir.
No.
Explain then.
Right. So what it seems that you're saying, yeah, is that why is it that a revert doesn't need to read the whole Quran and can become a Muslim? However, you've taken from what I've said that somehow it's any different for a person of the book who, when they read the Quran, they have to read it all to accept it. But no, they just have to, when the sign comes to them, when they read the verses and they acknowledge, like I said, as the people of the book who are sincere to their scripture do, that this is also from the God that they worship, that they know, then they accept it. And then that's it. They're a Muslim. They don't have to read it all. However,
Again,
from that point onwards,
I'm
from
asking
that
you, right?
point
Is it
onwards,
one verse? Is it a chapter, like i.e. one surah? Is it like, a juz in the Quran, or is it the whole Quran? At what point is it that one can say, I accept the verses in the Quran according to your criteria?
right? So as soon as the faith enters their heart, the truth, like we said, if you scroll up to our definitions, as soon as the truth becomes apparent to them, and now they're in a position where they either accept it or reject it. Yeah, they either take that step or they don't. Okay,
Okay,
this is what determines and differentiates and distinguishes between who is the Muslim and who is the Kafir.
so again, I want to know, is it just one verse, one chapter, one juz, or the whole Quran? At what point can one say, like, when you could read one verse? Let's say you read me Surah Al-Maryam, right? And I say,
Yeah.
yay, I accept the truth of this. This sounds just like, what God would have said, right? And I say, I accept it. Okay, can I do that? And then I'm no longer a kafir? Or, like, do I need to read more of the Quran? Like, help me to understand what you're saying.
Yes. So you accept what you hear.
Okay, so basically you could read one verse to me and I can accept it.
Yeah, and then faith, then that's a part of faith. You've just entered
So,
into you just submitted, you've accepted this is the truth. And so now, if you've
so
accepted what you're hearing is from God,
can I say
then
minimum one verse? All right. So minimum one verse. Accept the verses. All right. Minimum one verse. Right.
no, 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 no. You have to accept all of the verses and believe in them. However, because one of them has guided you to the truth, it now becomes easy for you because you now know that the source of where you're getting this from is true because you believe in it. So the rest of it is true.
Okay. So technically speaking, when we're saying we have to accept the verses is from God, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Accept the verse is the truth. Is the truth or is from God? Which one would you like?
Both are the same in
Okay.
technical terms.
I'm going to do accept the verses is the truth. Okay.
Yeah.
Minimum one verse. Maximum.
I don't know what you mean by minimum one verse, I'll be honest.
Because you can convey one word to me. Yeah? You can convey, Kul Allahu Ahad. Okay. And I'm like, yes, like that's it. Like, I accept that. I believe it is from God. You could continue and say, Allahu Samad. And I could be like, yes, I accept that. Okay. Lam Yalid wa Lam Yulad. Like, yes, God is not begotten, nor does he beget. I accept it. That is a clear definition of what God is. Right? Can I do that? And I can say, yes, I've accepted it.
Yes, but the thing is, you can also do that with no verses because if I was to convey the truth to you without reading any verses to you and you accept it, then you are still a Muslim. The verses are just there for you. This is from God. This is what is upon you to start
So,
reading now once you've accepted the truth.
so you're saying to me that you don't need the Quran.
No,
So the
you do.
people, they need to hear a verse of the Quran to be not a kafir, or do they need to hear verses of the Quran? Yes or no?
Look, a person is born in a state of fitra, yeah, which is a
No,
natural
I'm talking about the
disposition.
people of the book. The people of the book is not in fitra. So the
No, no,
people.
no. They've left the fitra. No, not all of them. Some of them may still be in the natural disposition that they were born with to be a
Okay.
believer.
All right. I'm talking about a Jew. I'm talking about a Christian right now. We're
Yeah.
talking about, let's say, a 18-year-old Jew and a Christian, right?
who have heard about the Quran before and listened to it before and about the
No,
Prophet before.
they've never heard about the Quran. Okay,
Yeah.
can they be like? Are they still a kafir or not a kafir? They've never heard the Quran. Are they a kafir?
No, we can't say that because that's in their heart right now because they haven't rejected. If you scroll up, they haven't rejected the truth yet when it comes to them. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's about rejecting the truth when it comes to
state, right? They've had Moses, they've had Elijah, they've had Micah, they've had all these different prophets, right? As a Jew, right? They've accepted the truth, off their book, right? Are they a kafir? Yes or no?
before what? Before they've had the Quran.
Yeah, they've never heard the Quran. The Quran is something foreign to them. It's in Arabic.
This is something that only Allah knows what's in their heart, because there will be some among them who even disbelieve already before that. Yeah, because
Okay.
because the people of the scripture are many. There's different groups amongst them. Some of them, even before the Quran came, they were already astray. Yeah, and some of them, a minority of them,
So
were
let's
still
keep
upon
it
some kind of
simple,
truth.
keep it simple, right? Is it a prerequisite to know the Quran in order to be non-kafir?
No.
So you don't need to know the Quran to not be a kafir.
But you have to accept it. You have to accept
You have
it.
to accept it, but you don't have to know it. Yeah, you're right. So if we're talking about knowledge and about belief, yeah, they are separate in this case, because everybody's born without knowledge. However, everybody's born a Muslim.
This is
So
nitpicky. You can't do the shahadatain when you say ashhadu an la
let me be clear with you, right?
But
You're saying to me that I don't need to hear. I don't. So can I just be a Jew, right? I've never heard the Quran before in my life, right? Can I be a Jew and can I be somebody who's not a kafir?
Yes, because he hasn't rejected the truth when it comes to him yet.
All right.
So it's possible. However, when the people here, yeah,
hold on, right? So Jews and Christians that have never heard the Quran or read the Quran, they are not kafirs.
no, not necessarily. Some of them may be. It depends on the individual. It's about what is in his heart, because some of them may be amongst. Yeah, go on.
Okay. So it depends on what's in their hearts, right? So technically speaking, a Jew and a Christian, right, have the ability to be non-kafirs. They could be part of the believers or the faithful.
With the condition that the truth has not come to them.
But what if the truth has come to them in the Bible?
No, not good enough.
Then the kafir.
Sorry? So they've got the word of God with them, but
Mm-hmm.
they're still going to be kafirs. And help me to understand. Can a Jew and a Christian who's never heard the Quran before be believers or faithful or whatever the case is?
They can still be Muslim, yes, with the condition that the truth has not come to them.
All right. So Jews and Christians, technically speaking, who've never heard the Quran before can be Muslims. All right.
It's
can
possible.
Can be non-kafirs.
With the condition.
They can be non-kafirs, but they can't be Muslims.
Okay.
Non-kafirs.
Jews and Christians.
The actual word non-kafirs, or did they might just create that?
Or people, I don't know. People of the book.
Yes, people of the book. That's a much better term to use. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we like the ones who actually read. we don't like the ones who don't read.
Heard or read the Quran can be non-kafirs. Yeah. And what's the word for non-kafir?
It's not that they've not heard or read the Quran. It's the truth. It's not just the Quran. It's because God can show you Islam not only by the Quran. He can show you it within yourself and from the horizons, from hearing lectures, from seeing Muslims, like the way they act.
Let's just say they have the truth, right? They have the truth. What is the word that we're going to utilize for them? These people who are non-kafir. What's that word?
So you're talking about the people of the book who have not rejected the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, who have not rejected the Quran and Islam and the Prophet Muhammad.
Yep. So the people of the book who have never heard or read the Quran and have never rejected the truth.
Yeah. And the Quran and the Prophet.
And who will follow their book to the teeth, and they have to follow their own book as well.
Okay.
Can't just, be waffling around.
Can be a
Yeah,
non-kafir.
and they have to be.
What's the terminology for non-kafir?
A non-kafir is a Muslim by default. It's true. It is, but a Muslim in the sense that he's in submission to God, but not a Muslim in the sense that he has accepted Islam yet.
Can I use the word mu'min?
No way,
Why not?
because a mu'min is a believer, and even the Muslims don't call themselves believers by default. We only let Allah decide if we're mu'min or not.
Are you sure?
100%. We don't call ourselves mu'min, we call ourselves Muslim.
So then how can the caliphs be the Amir al-Mu'minin?
Because their righteousness is clarified to us.
So their righteousness is clarified, but they're calling them the commanders of the faithful, the commanders of the believers.
Yeah, because in a general sense, they are the leaders of the believers, because we affirm that the believers exist and we affirm that they are apparent. We just don't claim it for ourselves.
So you
individually.
claim to be Muslims.
No, we do. We don't claim to be mu'min, but we say we are Muslim. We say we're in submission. We don't say we have faith.
All right.
Because
So
faith is
let me just do this, right? So non-kafir can be a believing Jew, Christian, and others.
no, a non-Kafir can be a Muslim, but is a better term, because to be a mu'min, you have to go to another level of
Okay.
belief.
I want to say a believing Jew, Christian, etc. Yeah. Non-kafir could be a believing Jew,
No,
etc.
no. Basically, a non-kafir amongst the people of the book would be someone who's a person of the book. Personally, to call them a Jew or Christian, okay, you can say it because they're amongst them. However, the person in their individual faith, in the individual submission, is actually a Muslim. The person you're describing, he's not a Jew or Christian. However, he's amongst the Jews and the Christians.
All right.
He's amongst the people of the book.
Let me use. I'd rather not use the term Muslim because it can get conflated. Okay, it's a surrenderer. Let's use the word surrenderer. If that's a word.
That's good. That's good.
Surrenderer.
Yeah.
To the truth.
Beautiful. I couldn't have put it better.
Cool. All right. So now, hopefully, we've got something that we can. I don't know if we all agree on, but we've got something to work with, right? All right.
It's a good foundation.
Okay. So people of the book who have never heard or read the Quran and have never rejected the truth can be non-kafir, surrendering to the truth. All right. All right. And that's the question of, are the people of the Bible kafirs? Okay. Some of the conditions to accept the verses, believe in them, and believe in Muhammad. Those who
Get rid of the minimum one verse thing, because I don't see the relevance for that right now. Yeah.
All right. All right. So there we go. All right. We've got that locked in. Let me actually lower this down a bit. I think 36 is a bit too high and harsh. Okay. Let's do that to. Don't play with me, you know. Don't play with me. God damn. All right. Look, can still read that. All right. I don't know. So wherever you guys want to take it down, because now we've got terminologies pinned down. All right. So we're all on the same wavelength.
Now when we're addressing Abu Talha's statement, even though I don't agree with his agenda, yeah, now you know who he's talking about when he says kafir.
Okay. So you lot can jump in now. All right. I want to make sure that my audience is learning something and they're all good with it. Does anybody else have anything to add? Wow, why is everybody being quiet, man? Like, respect, this is your thing, G.
Right,
M Stacks, respect, this is your thing.
Yeah, I would agree with the brother there. Innit? That's a good summary. Innit? However, this doesn't apply to people in Hyde Park, innit? Cause most of them are here to discredit the Quran and Islam. So they're by default kafirs all doing it. So I wouldn't say this kind of conditioning that you put down, it doesn't apply to the general public. It's only the minority this applies to. You can show me some people. You're talking about here the people in Amazon who have never heard about Islam. Who are they?
No, no, it's not those who've never heard of Islam. You know, the thing is, those who have never heard or read the Quran
Yeah, but
and
then
have
who's
never
that?
rejected the
About it?
truth, right? I'm pretty sure that most Muslims have never actually read the Quran. You know, they may have heard the Quran, but they never understood the Quran, right? So there's a lot of people like that.
Just want to make clear though, when we've said not heard the Quran, we mean not heard of the Quran. Yeah,
So you're
we
telling me you
mean
have to simply hear of something.
we mean that they've not heard that there's a potential revelation that's come to a prophet, yeah, which has been prophesied in their scriptures beforehand. So as soon as they hear about that, just about it, that's enough of a witness against or for them. Yeah. So as soon as they hear about it, now is on upon them. God has told them, yeah, look, here's your chance. Go find it. Yeah, go read it. It's here. My revelation's here. Go listen to it. And that's it. From that moment onwards, yeah, they're either with God or they're against him. Because they're either going to pursue that path of truth now or they're going to avoid it. And it's as simple as that.
Does that go? Sorry.
That don't make no sense. Well, go ahead. Let me go. You know, Shia. So Eastern. Why couldn't you Shia? I guess you're the embodiment.
Yeah,
You're black.
would that also presenting that principle? What's that? Is it Omar? Right? Omar.
Yeah.
Yeah, presenting the principle you just said. Would that equally be the case if somebody presented, let's say, 50 to 100 hadith from Bukhari and Muslim to certain groups of people that claim to be Muslim, and they therefore didn't study those things and make sure that they were on the right path? Would they therefore be kafirs if they didn't go into those hadith that they never heard before, like Quran and Ahlul Bayt and Umar and Thursday and Abu Bakr, Yusuf and the Khalifa? Just, you know, just to understand the basic principle that you're putting across. Would that be the same type of thing?
Right. So if Kalam scrolled up, if everyone remembers what he wrote at the beginning, to reject the truth is quite an easy concept to understand. Yeah. And once we understand that the Quran is from one source and it's coming to a prophet, then it becomes incumbent upon that prophet to only ever speak the truth. So even if that prophet is not reciting revelation, he's still only ever going to speak truth because that's the only thing that is appropriate for him to do. Yeah. So anybody who rejects a statement of the prophet, knowing that it's from him, and the evidence is clear that it's from him by unanimous agreement and by narration, by the chains, by authenticity leading back to him, then this person will also become a disbeliever by rejecting that statement, because it's as much of a sin to reject the statement of the prophet as it is to reject the speech of God. Same thing.
How much hours do you
Can I
think
just
it would
ask a
take
simple
someone?
question? One, Isa. 1 second, fam. Like, I just need some clarification because is a kafir, yeah, a disbeliever in Allah or a disbeliever in Muhammad?
So a kafir,
Muhammad. It's not just Muhammad. It doesn't stop at the Prophet Muhammad. Ezra, it goes on to the companions and the scholars.
No, it's both. It's both. How can you believe in the creator and then not believe in his messenger? It just don't make sense.
So
I guess Allah
why
has
you
partners.
don't need to believe? You just need to believe the message and it, not the messenger. Like,
Yeah, nah, that don't make sense.
exactly, Allah has part. This is what I'm saying. It's shirt, fam. Like,
if someone
why? What's the? Listen. The message, yeah. Listen. The message is one thing, yeah. But if I can accept the message and reject the messenger, you know what I'm saying?
no, you
So
can't.
like,
makes sense.
I don't. Like I said, I don't accept. Listen. Yeah, Allah has sent down. I call him the name you guys use for him, innit? Just so you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
So,
because
like,
you were talking
Allah,
about
yeah,
the same
you're
God at the end of the day.
Huh?
You know,
Nah, we're not still. But
that's
the next
you
thing.
can say
Yeah,
that, but your scriptures confirm it. So whatever.
Nah, all right,
All right,
well,
all right. Yeah.
I'll have to beg to disagree on that, innit? But let's just say you're right then. Yeah. Okay, then your Allah told the Israelites, and I want you to address this time. He told the Israelites to uphold the covenant, what he gave to them. You understand? Not what he gave to Muhammad, and not what he sent with Muhammad. He told the Israelites to uphold what was given to them. So, like, how can they be Kafirs all of a sudden when they're told to uphold their covenant? That don't make no sense.
Right. So look, it's quite simple, yeah.
Go on.
This is an affirmation, yeah, the statement from Allah to go back to the Torah that the Quran is true. Why is that? Because
I'm not talking about that though, fam.
okay. What
Listen,
are you referring to? A verse?
I'm not talking
what are you
about. You
referring
see what
to?
I'm saying? I'm
What are you
referring. I'm
talking about?
referring to the actual verse where it tells that he says, "O children of Israel, uphold the covenant which I bestowed upon you, and I will uphold his end of the bargain." Basically, I'm sure you know the verse, fam. Like, do you
Yeah, it's
need to get
beautiful.
the
It's
verse?
beautiful. So what Allah's saying is that, look, the truth is with you in certain cases, and now I'm affirming it. Yeah. So what I'm sending down to you is the same thing that you have with you already. Yeah. So if you are true believers, then all you have to do is follow what you already have. Yeah. And accept what is coming to you now.
Exactly.
No, but you have to accept what is
But what I'm
coming
saying,
down
if
on you now. Do
now,
you
but what
understand?
you've just said, now, but listen, you've just said what's coming down is exactly the same as what we already have. You just said that. You
Don't
said that out your mouth.
no,
So
no.
listen,
Look, what you have
bro.
with you is from the same
You
source,
just
bro.
said that, you know. I'll go
Look,
off your words.
look.
Yeah, but
Look,
fam, we have to
Exactly from the
understand.
same source.
What we have with us tells us that we can't put no partners with the Most High. You get it? So what we have with
you
us, we
guys,
don't
listen.
so
When it comes to
so
believing
what we
in a
have with us.
messenger and calling that
For
shirk,
what we have with us, one of the
it's a
nullifiers
ludicrous
of our
argument,
faith
man.
is
Come on,
one
like,
minute.
honestly, bro.
To the partner
Like,
to the
it's just
1 minute.
ludicrous, isn't it?
Omar, can't you hear us?
Finish, fam.
All right, go ahead, Rasmus.
No,
I said one of the nullifiers of faith within the Hebrew thing, yeah, is like say like Moses believing in Moses isn't a nullifier of faith. It's just a part of a parcel like Elijah, Elisha. There's so many prophets, you know what I'm saying? And obviously we revere, like if you're in the thing, you revere it, but like it's not like a nullifier of faith. That's what I'm trying to point out.
yeah.
But obviously, so.
But that's the thing. The thing is, I mean, how are you going to deal with the word when it means rejecter? I mean, I look at the thing from a psychological perspective or a psychosomatic, psychophysical perspective where you're using your emotions to overcome what you know to be true. So it's on all levels. It can be a rejecter of Allah, a rejecter of Allah's oneness, so they accept Allah, but then they give him partners of angels and other gods in heaven, etc. A rejecter of the Prophet, peace upon him, because I would have to say that if he brought a message and the message is confirming him as a prophet, then I don't see how you can reject the message. I mean, reject him when the message is saying you have to accept him as a prophet and it's from Allah. So, but I mean, in general, I go with RASPECT's position
but if
because
the message is the same, like you said.
But one sec, bro. I go with what RASPECT's basically what RASPECT has been pointing out is exactly the way we should be looking at it. But also the Sunnis are right. They're not even Sunnis. The ones who've been speaking are Sunnis. Generally, it's agreed upon by Muslims that there is a Sharia meaning, which basically is saying how do we deal with the different groups in law? Do you get what I'm saying? So under law, how do we classify them? So it doesn't have to be necessarily an undermining term like it's being used. It just means, well, they're the rejectors of what's here. But when we're going on, what RASPECT has been doing literally is applying it the Quranic way, which is that he's discussing something with somebody, they're debating, he's using what they say against themselves, refuting them, and they reject it. Therefore, they're covering over, pretending and going left and right of the truth. Now, this is something that's commonplace, and therefore it is true that they are fully deserving of that term. Look, very simple question. If we were to apply exactly what he said, if somebody was studied Islam. They had enough information about the Prophet and his prophesied in their books, and they rejected it. Yes, they be Kafirs. So I said, well, if you Sunnis were shown the evidence in your books, in Bukhari, in Muslim, and the Quran, which is our book, in fact, the Quran's our book, your book, Sunni, Bukhari, and Sahih.
Easy. You go into. Let me give you guys some facts, right? I want to keep some short stuffs right about now. We've actually got one of my special guests that's just joined us. We've got Revisiting the Salaf up in the building. Say peace to the family, man. Come on. All right. It says salam. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah. All right. So I wanted just to get back into this, right? So not every person of the book, so not every Jew, Christian, Hebrew, Israelite, whatever else we have in there, Rasta man is actually a Kaffir, as long as he's following the truth and never heard of or read or heard the Quran or read the Quran or anything like that. He therefore has never rejected the truth. Or even if he has heard or read the Quran and has never rejected the truth in the Quran, he cannot successfully be called a Kaffir. Is that right in saying that?
So remember when we clarified that it's hearing of it, not necessarily hearing it itself?
That sounds kind of bugs, to be honest with you. To be hearing of the Quran, you could be hearing misinformation about the Quran. I can go now and pick up.
By hearing of, I mean, okay, so a person who knows God,
let me give
logically, spiritually, yeah, he hears, okay, there's a message from him.
Let me give you an example, G. I don't know why everybody's trying to speak over the host. So, for example, right, I can go now and, sit down in a lecture of, let's see, who do you guys hate? I can go now and sit down in a lecture of Tommy Robinson or David Wood, and they can be telling me about the Quran, okay? And based upon that information, I would outright reject it, all right? So I've heard of it, I've rejected it, because quite clearly, like, I'm scared of whatever is written in the Quran, all right? And these could be people that's misrepresenting the Quran. So even if somebody's misrepresenting the Quran, as long as I've heard of it, and then I've rejected the misrepresentation, I'm still a Kaffir. Is that what you're saying?
Beautiful. So this is why I'm saying hearing of the Quran, because we are talking about individuals who already have a special relationship with God. They already accept him. Yeah, they already know him. They already feel the blessings from him. They already acknowledge his existence. And now they're hearing, whoa, there's a messenger that's come from that same God that we all know. Yeah, I need to find out about this. Forget the individuals right now who are mocking that messenger. I want to know what he's saying. Forget the ones who are rejecting him. I want to know what he's saying. Yeah. So that person's gonna go to the source, go to the speech of God, and he's gonna realize this is from the one that I know.
No.
Yeah.
This is gonna realize. I'll tell you what he's gonna realize. He's gonna realize I don't understand what the hell this is saying. This script right here, I don't read Arabic. It's like you now, like there's a prophet. I know you've got a different conceptualization, but there's now a prophet that appears in China somewhere speaking Mandarin, right? And he's got a book in the Mandarin language. Okay, you now go, you pick up that book in the Mandarin, you're stuck. I can't read a Mandarin book. Can you read a Mandarin book?
Beautiful. So what that person of God has done is already taken that first step of faith, and tried. He's tried to go to figure out what's going on here. Yeah. And because he's taken that first step, the rest are just gonna become easier. Why is that? Because he's searching for the truth, innit? So the person who can't read the Arabic is now gonna go try find a Mandarin translation. Go try find out, what is this saying? What is my Lord trying to tell me? If this is actually from him, I want to know. And what's gonna happen? He's gonna read it. He's gonna recognize it's from the one who he knows already. Yeah.
Okay.
Then
so
he's gonna
we get an Arabic translation of the Quran in English. We've read it, and what if we don't recognize it?
Impossible.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If we're talking from a layman perspective, okay, fair enough. Yeah, they might not understand it because it's quite severe, that language. But the more they take them steps, the more they think, hang on, I don't get this. So I don't reject it and I don't accept it right now. Okay, I want to find out what that means. So then they go to someone of knowledge. Allah says in the Quran, if you don't know, ask those who know.
So
So
let me stop you there. Let me stop you there because I'm
so
telling
then he
you,
goes to a priest or he goes to
let me
a
stop
Buddha.
you because there's going to be a few barriers, right? So, for example, if I told you there is a prophet in China right now, and he's got a Mandarin book, what would you do?
I would say he's a false prophet
Okay, and the reason why you say he's a false prophet?
because Allah said in the Quran that the Prophet Muhammad is the last and final prophet.
Okay, so now I can go to a Jew now, right? And I can say, hey, there's a prophet. And they'll say, nope. According to our, book, there says that there is going to be no other prophets. All right, that time of prophecy has passed. And furthermore, we don't accept prophets except from the lineage of the Israelites. So he's from the Ishmaelites, double more so. He's definitely not a prophet. Then I'll go to a Christian, okay, and I'll say, hey, there is a prophet that's coming. And I'll say, what, is he baptized? No. Does he believe in the Lord Jesus Christ? No. Is he got the Holy Spirit? No. And then be like, nope, we reject it. Our scripture tells us to test every single spirit, every single prophet that comes, because there's going to be many false prophets. So already, right, Muhammad and his Quran is going to be fighting a losing battle, just as any Chinese Mandarin speaking prophet that comes now is going to be fighting a losing battle with Muslims. So already, the Christians, the Jews have done their due diligence. They've spoken to their, their priests and so forth. And they already told them that, nope, sorry, according to our books, we're not going to accept any new prophet that comes, number one, who is not part of the Israelites and who is not believing in the Lord Jesus Christ.
Okay,
What's
so
up?
that's fine.
Yeah,
So
good analogy. That was good.
so what we're saying here is that a conscious decision to reject the truth cannot come as a result of a few priests and a few people telling you, oh, like, nah, don't listen to this guy.
And what if you've read it in your book? If you read it in the Bible,
Yeah.
and it says, test every spirit, okay, do not accept a spirit that doesn't believe that Jesus Christ came in flesh, that does not believe that Jesus Christ was crucified, does not believe in this and such and such and such and such. And then that's in the Bible. It's written in their scripture. Muhammad comes and he goes against all of those things there. Sorry, go to the books of Exodus and Deuteronomy and so forth. And it tells you about the prophets that's to come. They're going to be coming from the lineage of the Israelites. They're going to be following the Torah. The laws of the Torah is going to last forever and ever until there's a new heaven and earth, right? And then somebody now comes who is not an Israelite teaching a new law when God already said that the law of Moses shall never, ever fall away.
Right.
I have no reason to follow you.
Everlasting.
So
Yeah, I
these men,
have no reason to, now read your book. I've read it in my own scripture. So I would just simply say that Muhammad is a false prophet now.
So basically, yeah, I know what he's showing is a pathology. When I was a Christian, that's a big mistake, because in the church we was told that Muslims are pagans and don't read their Quran, don't give them any time of day, don't study what they're on. And my Muslim brother was told exactly the same thing. You get it? And then my Hebrew brothers told exactly the same thing. So what we all do is we stay in our ignorance, and then we even had the audacity. I had the audacity to say that Muslims weren't on the truth, and I'd never read the Quran. I'd never studied their book. I'd never looked at it through their spectacles. But yet, I felt like I was in a place to judge them. And what we become is like someone who's got an apple, a pear, and an orange, and sorry to use those fruits, but we're in England where it's meek and bland for fruits. But anyway, you got 3 fruits, and someone asking you which one's the nicest, but you've only eaten pears your whole life because everyone told you that you don't even need to taste the orange. You don't even need to look at the apple. But when you're asked what your favorite fruit is, you say pear, but that's all you've eaten. You know what I'm saying? That's why I feel like it's definitely like upon us who say that we're looking for knowledge to equally study everything and be able to see things from different perspectives and have a higher understanding, you know what I'm saying? And differently, like for me, the reason why I say that people are Kafirs and they're covering up the truth is because like the Quran, and this I got this from a Muslim brother, he's a Gambian Muslim brother, so I know you might do takfir on him, you know what I'm saying? Because like the whole of Gambia, you might do takfir on, because them man are very Sufi, you know, African spirituality based, but they're still a Muslim country. But he was showing me the Quran, yeah. He said most Muslims, yeah, they don't read the Quran properly. They see the first two words, yeah. Man just bypasses the first two words. And he said that when people do that, they actually give a disservice to the creator, which they're gonna have to answer for. You know what I'm saying? Because they promote the creator as like, because their own mind might be a bit oppressive and their own mind might be a bit of a dark cloud. What they do is they promote the Most High in that same way. You know what I'm saying? And they, like he said, they do a disservice because he said the Quran starts with most merciful, most compassionate. So this should be emanating from Muslims. You know what I'm saying? Like, and most merciful is most merciful. This is why he said that humans and Muslims shouldn't judge other people, because most merciful and most compassionate. He said, think of the most merciful and the most compassionate person you know. No, we're not going to think of unknown. You know what I'm saying? But if you think of the most compassionate person that you know, the most merciful person you know that they're probably going to have mercy for people. So then if we're saying that the Most High is a million times more merciful and more compassionate than people, then to promote the Most High in such a one way that it doesn't matter if you're a pedophile, but if you claim Islam, you're going to be above the most righteous person that just like genuinely did not like Ultra Funky. There's man that genuinely don't buy any of our stories. Yeah. Then you got man that genuinely believe in what they believe in. I'm genuinely a Rasta you. Then you got people that genuinely don't that don't get the that have been given a different interpretation of Islam, the same way Sunnis give out an interpretation of Shia might give out an interpretation of Sunni, like so. And then you've got so you've got such a big a different amount of people. And what he said is that anything that's most merciful is going to act so. And like there's a Quran verse here, and I always have to like, because like you see like the way the Christians and the Jews are behaving, some of those behaviors you can see them in some people that claim to be following Islam, because it said the Jews say only they will go to heaven. So this is what they were saying to the Muslims. Yeah, they was making this claim, this boastful claim. The Christians say only they will go to heaven. Yeah, it says these are their vain desires. So the Quran lets you know that people that have a desire that only them and their group is going to go to heaven, regardless of righteousness, yeah, that's their vain desires. Tell them to show you proof. If you submit to the Creator, you have nothing to fear. So I feel like sometimes, like from the outside, especially when I'm reasoning with you, unknown, I feel like there's more of a cult element to what you're pushing than like the actual spiritual core of Islam, which is pure and clean. I feel like that is that side is where, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, like, but yeah, I feel like there's enough, like the mercy thing, the compassion thing. I feel like that is so overlooked because it's the first words, isn't it? So the first words must count for something. The first words that the Creator uses. You know what I'm saying? Islam was come to perfect character. Oh yeah, I said there's the last type of person who doesn't go towards Islam, not because of the message. They don't even get the chance to get the message. I know, because there's people like me I'm very humanitarian, so I can't really be with other people and say I'm righteous and then I'm oppressing the other people. Like for me, like you see the same way people promote this the caliphs and say when people came, or when you came to the Muslim country, everyone was happy. Like in the same way that like if a Sikh's there with his thing, like, and he's really on his baptized thing, no matter whether you're Muslim, Rasta, there's a level of trust that you have for that person. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's the same. Like even us, like the Akis that we grew up with, like them, when them man was about, everyone felt safe. They could be Muslim, Rasta, black, white, Asian, it didn't matter. When them man they came in their robes, everyone felt safe. It wasn't like the energy that man's getting at the part, like us versus you. every Kaffir can get it kind of mentality. And I feel like that's what's doing a disservice. And I feel like someone who's genuinely a humanitarian, like if I see that that's how a lot of men are moving over there, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna want to join you, unknown, to then go and oppress people who, even if I do believe in Islam, these people are just misguided. So that's between them and the Most High. All I can do is try to perfect my character and show this person the best way with the same love, because it's a love for humanity. And I feel like there's a level that people have gone to now, like statements that Abu Talib made, every Catholic can get. What they're actually doing is dehumanizing people that are not Muslim, and I feel like it's a big problem. I feel like that's a big problem, and I feel like it needs to be addressed.
But that comes down to hadith, fam. You know what I'm saying? They're following certain ummahs and certain man. You get me? It's not about the Quran, and it's not about righteousness. It's about following wicked men, fam. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, you're right. It's like, okay, then how can I put it? When it comes to Islam, yeah, like there's too many different ways of interpreting the thing. Yeah, I understand that the Bible has this problem too, but it's not on the scale of the Quran and the Muslim thing, because they've got all these different hadiths and different, you know, understandings of the Quran. Like there's some verses in the Quran that, you know what I'm saying, if you take that literally, yeah, you are going to be on some mad stuff. You get me? So, like I said, it's down to interpretation and who you're going to follow in it. Like, some man are following wicked ummah and wicked people. You understand? That's why they feel like any Catholic can get it. Because this actually went on, fam. You know what I'm saying?
I would say that, you know, if this is the thing that I have with a lot of people is when they say Muslims and they're referring to Sunnis, or they say Islam and they're referring to Sunniism, it becomes, you know, confusing, because they can come back at you with the Quran, which is not the Sunni book. So as the brother was just saying, what you said about what your view of Islam is, then you had to refer to certain characters or the Sunni God Ummah. And there's many other Sunni gods. You get me? So I'm thinking the easiest way through this is if you just say Sunni. Because as soon as you say Islam and Muslim, it becomes confusing. Because
you know what, you used to say this to me a long time ago, fam, and like I just fully could not understand it. It's only through watching certain videos now I do get it. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference between like a pious Muslim and who's all about Allah and the Creator, and a Muslim that's just gonna be about the Ummah and just following the Ummah as they're using the Ummah as their righteous compass. You get me? Like,
even that, fam, it's man that are trying to use the Ummah to fight their own personal battles that they're starting. You got man that are they're doing the worst crime, fam. You know what I'm saying? It's not like man are anyone, fam. Real talk, bro. Man's got Israel, you've got brothers. Gabs, you've got brothers. Kalam, you've got brothers. We've all got brothers that took their shahada, and we saw them become better people. Like in the community, we can't lie like this is a one-sided thing. Man seen man that was on some serious crud, yeah, and some serious badness, and on a one-way road to nowhere, yeah. And I've seen man come out of that and take their shahada and they definitely perfected their character. Them man there that used to be 20 gal in a couple of months, you get me? Get wife and hijab and yokes and you never thought that you would, you know what I'm saying? So obviously, man, not like for me, fam, I respect that. That's what my respect. But then the next you see a youth that was cool like Zachariah, cool like Deep, yeah. And then they do a disservice to Islam because they're like an advertisement for atheism, as Ultra Funky would say. Because you see someone that's normal, yeah, and then they just become extreme, and they're extremely badly behaved. So they're doing the opposite. They're not perfecting character. So someone from the outside, like my sister Nainifa, she ain't got time to hear unknown. She ain't got time to read the books. She sees the apple with deep, then that's Islam. You get me? See that, girls?
Yeah.
Sorry, bro. I didn't want to interrupt you, but you're absolutely right. You kind of firstly, hi to everyone on the panel, and also greetings to all the viewers as well. I'm not going to be too long on this, but just elaborating further to Raspect's point, I personally believe it's more of a psychological issue. I don't really blame it down to the religion always, because the reality is, we are constantly, our morality is constantly changing with fashion, what we see on TV, what we hear, and at the same time, it's also government indoctrination. What we don't realize is that people, society as a whole, we're being indoctrinated and shaped in a way where the only people that are going to benefit is the government. And what I mean by this is that, look, either you follow a religion, or you follow a government. We cannot escape the laws of adhering to some sort of scripture of some kind. And what I mean by this is, look, let's be realistic. You have good Muslims, you have bad Muslims. The other day I was asked at work, do I consider myself to be a good Muslim? So I asked my colleague, I said, do you consider yourself to be a law-abiding British citizen? And they said, what do you mean by that? And I said, do you ever speed? And they go, occasionally I speed. I said, well, then would you consider yourself to be following the British laws the way you should? And they said, no. I said, do you consider yourself to be British? Of course I do. So the issue is, of course, we shouldn't measure people's actions always with the religion, because sometimes their actions could be contrary to what the religion preaches. The reality is, regardless of whether you have religion or not, even atheism, you'll never get the two same binding opinions in atheism as well. And, let's be realistic, atheism, essentially it doesn't prohibit anything. And, it doesn't prohibit child abuse. That's the way I see it. It doesn't prohibit rape. It doesn't prohibit slavery. And, the bottom line is you'll never get two atheists who share the same views. So, coming back to the point, there's a lot of things that need to be discussed. So, yeah, anyway, I'm going to pass it on to whoever wants to jump on next.
You know what it is, bro? It's not, you see, atheism, it doesn't prohibit certain things, yeah? But I think the problem here is when people try to prohibit things using a righteous religion that's free from their malicious acts. People, yeah, that it's not just like they're Muslim and they're doing bad. You see certain of my brethren, yeah, they're Muslim and they do all sorts of things, but they keep Islam separate from, you know what I'm saying, their sins. But there's some people that want to do malicious things and they want to wrap it up in Islam.
Absolutely.
Wrap it up in, saying, and I'd say that's where the issue is. And when they want to use Islam as the point of call of unity, but only to do oppression. I'm not saying when people are being attacked or, you know what I'm saying, harm. I'm saying people that are not harming them at all, yeah, but they might have a personal difference with the person, but they want to now come and try to use the Ummah and use al-Bara and Bara season, and every Kaffir can get it and literally round up. You know what I'm saying? And some of them are rounding up numbers under these things. So it's like, it's not even something that we can just, like if it was one or two people, it's easier to ignore. But when you see like a good amount of people tuning into this thing, you definitely have to, you know what I'm saying, address it and definitely get different points of view. That's why I'm glad to hear your point of view as well.
Yeah, I mean, just want to finish off on a quick point, actually. See, the way I see it is that all these problems that we're facing in the world generally are a result of basically man just, making up his own false his own false beliefs, his own theories, his own philosophy, his own ideology, his own laws. So, as I said to you before, we can't escape following laws, whether you follow a religion or whether you don't follow a religion. The question is, we need to ask ourselves is, at the end of the day, look, you're not going to find no unified body. You're not going to find no unified body out of religion. Even atheism, it doesn't have no unified body. An atheist's opinion is based on, based on what? Who authorized that opinion? Who represents that opinion? What makes that opinion right? So you'll never find no unified body out of atheism. You'll never really find a unified body within religion. Yes, I do believe that this issue is not down to religion itself. Rather, it's people making up their own interpretation, and they're not following the, you could say, the correct interpretation. Of course, somebody might say, what is the correct interpretation? That's where we have to sit down and discuss these issues.
But revisiting as a Muslim, yeah, you seem to be alluding to the fact that there's no solution in objective religion, yet at the same time, something like atheism, which is based upon subjectivity, is not the way to go either. So, where do you stand?
Where I stand is that I believe to some extent there are certain truths in all religions to some extent, but there is one religion out there which has the ultimate truth, or at least the most. It leads to the most perfect truth, you could say, to some extent. Yeah, I'm not saying atheism is a solution. Atheism is never a solution. Even if we go according to history, people try to blame religion, for the countless wars we've had and persecution, suffering, but that's contrary to the statistics anyway. So what I'm trying to say to you is that in order to eliminate these problems, we have to sit down, talk about our differences, understand each other. Sometimes certain discussions are too overwhelming for people; they become too emotional. You can't have certain conversations with certain people; they'll just kick off in a fight. So I think those type of people should avoid having these type of discussions. And generally speaking, we should just understand one another better, understand each other's point of views, and respect that.
100%. I've got a solution though. There is one way, that we can all get along, right?
I've got a solution, and that is if you take us all out for dinner.
Hey! I'll see why you know, like you had to be the one. I wanted to bust a quick joke. But anyways, my quick joke here is joke, but it's half true as well. So the one solution is that how we can all get along is if we can actually all acknowledge that Kalam is the Mahdi that's been long awaited for in the Sunni religion, right? If you do that, I think we can all get along just nicely.
Oh, God. For you, but it is late, isn't it?
And I said the Sunni religion because I know I got a few Shias in here, yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
tear you up for that, boy.
Kalam's hungry for a Shia Sunni debate.
I just want to say Kalam's definitely closer to the Shia Imam Mahdi than the Sunni.
Ali, Imam, I want to,
yes,
bro, Ali, I want to ask you something.
Yes, my bro.
In relation to what you said about atheism,
yeah,
my research, would you not agree that considering human beings are not static creatures, so we're growing, we're evolving, we're learning, and so on, wouldn't you agree that atheism to a major degree is a good standpoint to be on in a world like this where there's so much misinformation, via which they can actually look at things more objective rather than so-called belief systems? Do you get my point?
100%.
Yeah, to some extent, But nowadays, you don't even get people who identify themselves as being atheists either. The most safer option, what they say, is we're agnostic.
Well, even if you want to say, what I mean is because the atheist principle, if you look at how it's working, most of the time it's because the people that they're coming at that from have the most ridiculous beliefs. Once they totally go against logic from the get-go, then it manifests down in society with behavior that is totally unjust, makes no sense, believing in any nonsense that a priest or Sunni rabbi or whatever has to say, whatever they have to say, right? That's where people say, you know what, not only is your belief ridiculous at the top, doesn't make no sense, defies logic, but also we see it manifest in the most grotesque oppression throughout society, on all levels of society. So once they see that connection, they're like, I want no part of it. Do you get me? So if this is what God's about, then they're saying leave it. But guaranteed, most of them seem to be thinking, even still, because they come up with arguments in their own head. Most atheists I've spoke to, they've contemplated it and they've got, why does he let children starve? Why did he do this? And these are logical arguments based upon the concepts of God they were raised with, or that they find most people have. So I suggest the second part to what I'm saying is, for those of us that do subscribe to, let's say, the concept of Allah, especially in the supreme wisdom of the Quran, this would then put us on the back foot, so to speak. Well, not me, but those who, that need to evolve their thinking a bit more. But though to the degree that the concept of Allah that we have must be evolved to a higher level. So in other words, they're going to ask questions that maybe some people have just accepted. This is what Allah is. This is what God is, etc. Do you get what I'm saying? So to me, I think the atheist, position and the atheist plays a good role in the society we're living in today. And is a good stepping stone towards, for me, unveiling and revealing what this Quran really has to offer in regards to science and the concepts of Allah.
But the thing is, yeah, I see atheism as coming to the table against a load of other people with ideas and saying, let's throw out every single idea that everybody has, even the good ones, and start from nothing. And I don't see that as productive, if I'm honest.
But that's the same thing that the basic Allah was more saying with Islam. You get me? Because you have to sort of scrub away. Because, for instance, those people, let's say, that had a concept of Allah, and Allah had, was it the 3 daughters, or concept of Allah and he's got a son. The concept, you know, if once that concept of Allah is intertwined from a child, some people might find it very difficult to undo those concepts because they've been praying to Allah through his son or through his daughters or through, you know, these various concepts. So the easiest step might be, you know what, let me throw the whole thing away. Let me, just in case it's there, let me do a prayer and say, you know what, I'm looking for you now. So in that period and process of them learning, they say, I'm an atheist right now, or agnostic, which means they can seek sincerely and objectively.
Yeah.
You get me?
Sorry, Isa, sorry, bro, I don't want to cut you off there. Sorry, bro, go ahead.
Nah, go ahead. You got this.
No, Isa was making a very interesting point there about the whole point about atheism and stuff. And sometimes maybe atheists can see things from more of a neutral point of view than people who are already in a religion who may have, you know, been brought up with a certain opinion or view. It's true, atheists may see things in different light, and it kind of also, atheism also connected to philosophy, as you mentioned as well. But then the question is, what type of philosophy as well? Because let's be realistic, most philosophers nowadays tend to belong to more of the atheist camp, but that wasn't the case in the past. In fact, some of the biggest philosophers were people who were religious. They actually believed in God. And again, the issue with science as well. You know, when people say, oh, science says, what they're actually trying to say is the government education system says, or the corporate sponsored science says. So, you know, what do they mean by, oh, science says? You know, science is not some sort of independent and neutral thing. Rather, it's like almost an extension of culture and ideology. So, you know, if you understand the relationship between the government and the education and the industry, and the fact that science theory promotes the agenda of political, ideological, economical establishments that shelter and nurtures it, you will start understanding the capability to question and recognize the false foundation, the conclusions, when people are actually saying, you know, science says. So the whole issue about science, philosophy, atheism, all these things I said to you before, these are big issues that, you know, these need to be discussed, because whose concept of philosophy are we understanding? Whose concept of science are we understanding?
But this is, I mean, this is where I would say, sorry, one sec, I won't be long. This is where I would suggest the supreme wisdom of the Quran comes in, because it gives you science from a holistic perspective. And likewise, philosophy. So we're dealing with the human being in all aspects, and you're perfectly correct when it comes to science, or the science that they're perpetuating today, because if they were being real about the science, let's say physics, you would have to be studying the human brain as a device, as an observer, as well as studying all the things that we observe.
Let me get it now. All right. So we've got a few people that's up in the building. We've got Beefy up in here. We've got you know, Mac, who's up in here. We've got Jedi as well. Come on, Gabs. You've been silent like all the way through. Are you typing but not speaking? I don't get it. I really don't get it, man.
Bro, sorry, bro. Do you know? Yeah, I just been busy doing different stuff here. So when I just come back, I just saw something Edra said, so I was just budding up still. But yeah, no, it's been peak. I hear what RASPECT's saying. I hear what Ezra's saying, and my brother is Issa there. Yeah, I hear what he's saying, man. You man spitting some real stuff, man. Because boy, it's true, man. Certain things that's been thrown out all over the place is kind of crazy to me, man. And I've been watching and listening some zombie apocalypse movement going on, bro. So it's peak that the brothers are coming out to speak and say their thing, man. But still listening. I might chime in on something still, because I wanted to get back to something. I don't know if it was RASPECT or Ezra when he was talking to the brother about, you know, partners of Allah, you know, the Prophet Muhammad, saying that, you know, you need to accept the Prophet Muhammad as well as the message. But I'm like, bro, if the message is coming from the Creator and it's the same message, Like I'm not really fussed about the post, man. I'm more interested in my delivery, like the message. You see what I'm saying? So
Man wants the lottery ticket, baby. I couldn't care less about the shopkeeper. Just give me my money.
give me my money, you know. So I just wanted to see. I wanted to get into that and see what this whole thing is about. You know? That's it, bro.
Okay. All right, let's jump into that in a hot second, right? So,
Ezra, who's deleting your comments? Who's deleting Ezra's comments, though?
there's a few mods now, so I can't keep up. Yeah,
Kalam, you know it's Dawn, man. She's been blocking me every single
Nah,
time.
it
Get me?
wasn't Dawn, you know, that actually deleted.
Or Miss Southeast, then you get me. One of the two, bro. Get
The
me?
last time it was Flip5, PLIP5, and it's because you said, you know, Gabs, Deepak, aka Deep, aka Seek Savage Pigeon Beast. That's the reason why you're taking.
Yeah, man. Freedom of speech, fam. I thought it was freedom of speech around here, bro.
I hear you. So what you say?
I thought you know that freedom. I thought you was some kind of freedom of speech thing. No, come on, man.
Eddie, come on.
But you know why? You know why? Because you know you said that was Tan's character, innit?
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely Ezra's character. You know, like that.
Yeah. So when Ezra comes onto the show and he has his own show, he's gonna be delivering some information, yeah, on Islam. Yeah, he can deliver it any way he wants, right? Really know on the panel we got rules, no ad hominems, no swearing, and nothing like that, right?
Yeah, I'm not. I never said that. I never said that on the panel, though. You know what I'm saying?
I know, but you're not saying, yeah, right? Okay, that's on the panel. I got to be okay. But as soon as I jump into the comment section, I'm going jihadi mode, dude. But I'm going hard, but man.
Fam, she blocks me every time. He don't matter what I say. You get me?
No, but it's not actually Dawn that's actually that did it. It was somebody else. All right, it was man like Clip.
Yo, tell him to relax, man. Sure.
Okay, all right. And he just told me, hey, to tell you, I beg you relax with them type of verbiage there. Get me? My CK family is not still. Even if it's still,
you got Dawn calling people niggas. You one of your moderators, get me? So let's get me. Come on, get me. Your actual moderators calling man niggas, fam, and you're worried about me calling him a Sikh pigeon. And I mean, no sense.
All right, all type with them type of language here. Let's get it.
Get me. All right, cool.
All right. No, I'm dead. I'm actually dead, you know. Hey, listen. Okay. Everybody's just trying to throw dirt at everybody all the time, you know. I love it. Audio Times TV, baby. All right.
Oh man.
So anyways, family, let me know if you lot been enjoying the show. I know you want me to get like Jedi and a few of the other individuals on. Unfortunately, the panel is filled up, right? But the link has been sent out. So, and if anybody who wants the panel, wants the link, right, holler at me. But you will literally just look until somebody drops out. Just quickly jump in. All right. I might pray to the gods right now. And you know when there's usually like 4 or 5 people just drop out, just like that? I'm going to pray to the gods for you that they will just drop out and then you lot can come in. How about that? Yeah? How about that? So the last time we simply said the code word, which is...
make people then drop out if my God is Elijah.
So you know the last time we had the code word was MI5. MI5. Let me try another one. Illuminati. All right. Let me see what terms can we use, right? Usually, like these key phrases here, yeah, it causes a madness. All right. Atheism. Versus atheism. All right, my cover is blown. All right, FBI. Nah, still not working.
They're smarter than that. Do you know their filters? Yeah, they're actually statements now, and it's to say something provocative. Yeah, and then, yeah.
Okay, let me try this one. Uncle Omar. All right. Okay, maybe not. Maybe Gremlins. All right, next time. Anyways, family. All right, let's get into something proper now. Okay, so we were speaking about Kaffir earlier on. Because I know people are a bit upset by the terminology of Kaffir. And so we can jump onto Kaffir, or we can actually go on to the shirky nature of binding partners with Allah, i.e., Who just dropped out? Somebody just dropped out. No, did someone drop out? No. All right. I.e., binding partners with Allah, with Muhammad, peace be upon him and his family. So let's do that. Who had that argument?
Yeah,
Gabs.
so I had Gabs say something. So he said an argument, yeah, which we tend to use on people who call themselves quote unquote Quranists, yeah, who basically are of the view that God only sent Muhammad as a postman, and that he, in terms of his character, his personality, what else he's got to bring to the table in terms of revelation and for the people to learn from, is obsolete, basically. Yeah. So that's an argument that we use ourselves, to be honest, against people who claim they just follow the Quran and not the Hadith. Yeah. So I find it ludicrous, bro, because you're saying you accept the message but reject the messenger. Yeah.
Okay.
However, the messenger. Go on. Do you want to jump in?
Let me jump in quickly. I just want to quickly say this, right? So in ancient days, like in the first two centuries of Islam, there were three schools of thoughts that were actually constructed, right? There were the Ahlul Kalam, okay, which is one school of thought. I'll explain them in a little while. Then there was those who were the Ahlul Ray, okay, it's another group of people. Then there was those who were called the Ahlul Hadith, all right, which is the modern day normal Salafi Sunni person, right, who literally takes the hadiths and everything on top to kind of understand the world and make the judgments and so forth, right? Then trading backwards, you have the Ahlul Ray, yeah, who were the people of sound judgment or sound opinion. So they utilized, they read the Quran, they followed the hadiths, the Sunnah, and so forth, but they were very much so particular and were able to use their minds, right, to make decisions. Whereas the Ahlul Hadith, they don't tend to use their mind at all. Like, to use your mind is like the very last resort, because of course the Prophet and the companions have said it all before in the past. Then there were those who were called the Ahlul Kalam, which I would really love to think, yeah, they were like kind of like the Quranists. They also followed the Sunnah, but they had to really be like mutawatir, like things that were well established within inside of the deen. They kind of followed suit with that. To me, it kind of, I don't know. I want to know, like, I have a hypothesis that Jafar al-Sadiq kind of fit into that latter group, or sorry, the original group of the Ahlul Kalam. But I need somebody like my Shia, Saeed, basically, to kind of Saeed Ali, to kind of confirm that for me. So you have these different groups of people, right? So we have, the people that deal with hadith, which is my brother Omar right now. And then you have others that only dealt with the Quran, right? And the established Sunnah. So go ahead, let's continue the conversation.
You kind of hit the nail on the head, and it is how all three groups approach the literature. We, the 12 Shias, were considered more to be the rational school, in the sense that when we used to look at the verses of the Holy Quran, we never used to take them, well, when we used to talk about the attributes of God, we would not take them to be literal. While another group of Muslims, they may take those verses to be literal. But when it suited them, they would kind of pick and choose the other verses and then give it interpretation. Do you get my point?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
For example, in the Holy Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might say that he's above the throne. So how do we interpret throne? Do we mean a physical throne? And what's the direction of the throne? Because, like, for example, if I was standing on the North Pole, hypothetically speaking, and God's throne is above me, what would be the case of a person who lives on the South Pole? So this is why sometimes you may notice some brothers belonging to a certain community, especially within the Salafi school, you'll notice that they will tend to point that finger towards the sky. They'll have that one finger. Normally that's an indication that basically God, they're pointing towards the direction of God, that he's above the sky. So yeah, in short, yeah, you had these schools and they approach literature differently, and they kind of, apply their own interpretation to some extent. Obviously, we can discuss those points and why they differed and what the most rational point is. But even them, they would have to still use philosophy and their own rational arguments to prove why they came to that position. Have I lost you guys, or does that make sense?
Right, I'm following. We're all. I hope we're all following you. I know I'm following you. I know Gabs.
So
I know Respect and Ultra Funky and the Black Intellectual Shears following you. God damn.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, within the
involved, yeah, but I'm struggling to stay awake, bro. Like,
so
not because it's boring. I had an early start, but listen, I'm loving the information.
yeah. So for example, in the Sunni school, you have three main schools of theology, and normally the two that mostly kind of clash are the Salafi school, who consider themselves to be Athari, and then you have the other school who consider themselves to be Ashari. Even though both of them they come under the umbrella of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, maybe most Sunnis would probably consider, like, for example, if somebody belonged to the Athari school or the Salafi school, they might consider an Ashari to be their fellow brother. But even though theologically they differ ultimately on the belief in existence, on the attributes of God, they give them different interpretations. So yeah, it's quite an interesting, definitely quite an interesting topic.
Indeed. All right, but let me jump onto this now, right? So I want to know, okay? Let's see who brought up this conversation. Gabs, I need you in. Tag. That was powerful earlier on. Uh-oh. M Stacks has just jumped out. So if somebody wants to take his place, you better come quick. Go ahead, family. Go on, Gabs.
Yeah. You wanted to tag me in.
Was it you to say about like the messenger and stuff like this, right?
Yeah. I think the brother was gonna explain something. He was about to explain something about, I think what he was saying about the Quranists. He has the same argument with the Quranists, and then he was gonna go into something, but then it kind of changed. So I wanted to wait to see what he was gonna say. What's the brother's name?
Yeah, Umar. Okay.
I'll do with that, because I was gonna come at you with that, bro. Basically, what it is, if you come at it from and I get, again, a lot of these things, these issues are solved by making sure that you label certain religions correctly. So the very thing that you're talking about is the thing that plugs that hole is, what does the messenger represent? Now, although they say with their mouths that the messenger is an example, there's a continuation after him in a divinely appointed way. So it wouldn't just be he brought the Quran and there's a message and that's it. There would still be more to come after him who have a similar role of authority among the Muslims after him. So it would never stop at, well, you just brought the message. You would have to be the person who has brought the message, who is living the message and implementing what the message is. So that not only the example, but an authoritarian. Now, why is this authoritarian somebody that you should listen to according to the Quran and the true Islam? Because they are divinely appointed and divinely guided. They establish justice. So under their authority and guidance, generation after generation, you will evolve society towards peace. You will bring out the best of humanity. This is where the 12 Imams and the true Islam of divinely appointed successorship comes in. Obviously, if you follow the other religion, you'll find, well, you have the prophet, and then you have usurpers and backstabbers and people that steal the religion and take it and make money out of it and kill other companions and all that kind of thing. And then you make it up as you go along for the purpose of conquest and for the purpose of all kind of ruthless behavior, which you find continuing till this day. So again, if you can, brother Gabs, and anyone else, please refer to them, either as Sunnis or, I've given you several titles you can call them as. But the point is, it's a separate religion. And by you're just saying Islam, it causes these problems.
Do
you get what I'm saying?
I'll ask you a question on what you just said there, because you mentioned...
Gabs, respond, please. Just in relation to that. But Gabs.
Yeah. I was going to respond. But basically, on that... So basically, what you're saying, I hear what you're saying.
Bad. Your line's bad, Gabs.
Can you hear me now?
A bit better. Go on.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying, to come back at that, is obviously I know obviously the Prophet Muhammad is getting the message from Allah. Yeah.
Right.
But the whole thing is that the bit that I always get confused about is, what about the other messages? Because it says, follow, was it follow Allah and His messenger, which is the Prophet Muhammad, right? Like it's
Right.
I only ever heard Prophet Muhammad and Allah when it comes to the message. I don't hear of the other prophets. You see what I'm saying? It's always
Okay.
in
This is what it is. The message itself. If you see, this is the issue. You have to remember, it's never come down where you have humanity, where they're all believing the same thing. They're all at the same age. The society's, static. It hasn't. No one's pressed the reset button, and you start from the beginning. So you need to evolve this generation. So, for instance, if the first generation is a bunch of alcoholics and maybe all kind of crazy thing, then the next generation, you're trying to evolve all these bad things so that the next generation are better than that previous one, and the next generation after them are better than the one before. So this is why you need divinely appointed guides who are divinely
that's not my point. I'm not talking about why you need the guides of obviously people in society and why they need the message. I'm talking about the whole thing as why is it that the Prophet Muhammad seems to get a higher rank from a Sunni point of view, should I say? I don't know about any others or any other view. Why does he seem to get like a higher rank, like above the other messages? Do you understand?
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, you could say that's the Islamic aspect.
Can I
go
respond
ahead
quickly? So, brother, well, the thing is that we do have verses in the Quran which generally tell us not to really make distinctions between prophets. So there are verses in the Quran which mention this. But at the same time, we do have certain levels of prophets and certain groups of prophets who are more identified and recognized. One of the reasons could be because they received religious scripture, okay, as a hypothetical situation. So when we talk about the Holy Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him, what we say is that every nation was ultimately sent messengers, some with books, some didn't receive books. Some received inspiration, and through that inspiration, they were guiding people towards the truth. And these people, they were probably considered to be the best role models of the time. Likewise, we believe with this knowledge, the Holy Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him, we believe he's the inheritor of that knowledge. So that knowledge was passed down to him from his ancestors.
No,
those ancestors. Sorry?
I hear what you're saying, but it's still my point, and this was my point. Like you just said, we as in human beings. So as in we give these messengers and these prophets the rank. So what I'm trying to say is, does Allah mention about giving prophets and messengers certain rank that certain prophets?
Of course, bro. I mean, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Holy Quran with Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. See, one of the objections that, for example, our Sunni brothers bring up, they say, oh, well, you Shias, you believe that the Imams of the Ahlul Bayt, they excel the prophets. So, firstly, we need to distinguish by what we mean by an excel here, okay? Because to excel over someone, you'd have to possess a certain quality or attribute which the other person doesn't. So, if we look at the Sunni scenario, and by the way, they're slightly divided about this. Some groups of Sunnis believe the Prophet was an illiterate person. He didn't know how to read and write. Now, there may be a Sunni who does know how to read and write. So by virtue, does he excel the Prophet on this particular area? The hypothetical answer to that would be yes, he would. So firstly, we need to ascertain what we mean by excel and what makes other people higher than other people. So when we talk about the Imams of the Ahlul Bayt reaching to a certain level where they were given the status of imama, we say that basically, obviously they don't excel the Holy Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him. We actually consider him also to be the first imam, which, by the way, he's so that's a whole different discussion altogether. But we talk about in certain areas they can excel, and certain areas they cannot excel. Simple as that. So when we talk about the Prophet, we believe that he excelled everyone in virtue. He was the most perfect representation of God's manifestation of Allah's attributes at that moment in time and place. He possessed the most perfect
Whoa. Sorry.
qualities.
Can I just help in? Yeah, because did I just hear you right? So you said the prophets at the time, the Prophet was a manifestation of
Not in
God's
the
attribute.
no. What I mean by this is not in the literal sense. Okay, so you
So
want
what's
to take
it?
the literal sense. So, for example, we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from his 99 names. Okay, the difference is his names and attributes are, we cannot compare the human's name and attributes. We can't compare our actions to God's actions. Do you understand? So, for example, God's the all merciful, but I can be merciful as well. So what I'm trying to say to you, the Holy Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him, he possessed the perfect balance of those attributes at that one given time and place.
Well, let's see.
All right, Isa, are you listening? Yeah.
What I'm saying, but this is, you see now, but this is why I asked this question, because I can clearly see it now. This is the part I wanted to talk. Why is it that the brothers are seeing the Prophet at the time had the perfect attributes? And I know the brother was slightly on the border of basically saying he was basically like Allah on earth, kind of slightly. He didn't want to say.
Yeah, I felt that same vibe.
Yeah, no, it's understandable, because the thing is here, we need to be clear. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said he was going to place his representative on earth, his Khalifa, what did he mean by this?
No, he said he's going to appoint a new Khalifa on the earth.
Yeah, not his.
Say
yeah,
that,
there's a difference. There's a distinction to be made there. He says a Khalifa, not my Khalifa.
Hold on, let me just take over. Gabs, let me just deal with this. In the Quran, Allah sets forth the first human being, right, as his Khalifa. I'm going to place a Khalifa on the earth, and the angels
Al
were
Khalifa
saying,
and my Khalifa are two different things.
wait, man, just who was disputing whether it's a Khalifa or my Khalifa? I'm saying,
we're making the distinction. I'm making the distinction.
Brother, that's fine.
I want to play loose and fast than that, but there is a big distinction to be made. Obviously, my Khalifa feeds into the narrative that you men are pushing, isn't it?
Well, you wouldn't know that because we're not making that point. But anyway, let me, Brother Gabs, I'm making a point that not only was that the case, but the angels bowed down to this particular Khalifa, right? So understand the position that this person is in when Allah's placing a Khalifa, a vicegerent on earth. Then there is a pattern that's being set here, that there is a divine authority, meaning it's the authority which they walk with on earth is obedience to them, is obedience to Allah. It is the exact same. So when it says in the Quran, "O you who believe, obey Allah, obey the messenger and those in authority from among you," this coincides with a hadith where the Prophet, peace upon him, said in Bukhari and in other hadith books for those who are Sunnis. The Prophet, peace upon him, said, "He who obeys Allah, who obeys me, obeys Allah, and he who disobeys me, disobeys Allah." So again, the Quran and the hadith equate the authority of the Prophet, peace upon him, as a human being on earth having that divine authority. Do you understand, brother? So it's not just a matter of, well, here's a Quran, here you go, see you later. Like someone's delivering you a letter, the postman, as long as he gives you your mail or whatever you want, that's it. You don't really care who delivers your mail, correct, Gabs?
As long as he's in line with what the Quran says. If he does something outside of that, it's obey Allah, then obey the Prophet.
I would suggest that's anyway. Let me just give you in regard to the degrees, brother Gabs. So in the Quran, chapter 2.
Before you get to that bit, yeah, because I just want to answer that the first bit you was mentioning. But this is why I get confused again, because the Quran that the Prophet Muhammad received, is that any different from any of the messages that the previous prophets got? Is there anything different?
Yes, there is.
So the Quran, so the message that that Allah gave, that the angel Jibril, what Allah gave to Jibril, that gave it to Prophet Muhammad, is different from the other messages.
There are. You asked if there are differences. Yes, there are differences. For instance, I could give you. Go on.
No. So basically, yeah. So basically, is the message that the Quran that came to the Prophet Muhammad, is it different? Is it a different message to what the previous messengers got.
But that's what I mean. I would say your question's vague, but I'll try and answer it in relation to what I believe you're saying. So the fundamental message, which is there's only one Allah.
Okay.
Number 2, about justice. Yes. And well, let's just deal with it from the perspective of the 5 basic principles of true Islam, so-called Shia. So you have the Tawheed, the oneness of Allah. The second principle, so these are so-called pillars, is justice, divine justice. Then you have Nubuwah or prophethood. Then you have Imama. Then you have judgment. So from that perspective, how can I put it? Sorry.
Hello? I just wanted to know. Yeah, I can hear you. I just wanted to know, is what the Quran is all this stuff that you're mentioning that you're saying is in the Quran. Is this exact same things that the previous prophets got? So is it the same?
No.
Thing?
That's what I'm saying. It's not, because, for instance, I get the example is Isa bin Maryam is quoted in the Quran as saying, "I come to make certain things that were unlawful to you, the children of Israel, lawful." So even Isa came with something different. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, it didn't. No,
I said in the Quran, brother. Wait. We're dealing with the Quran, brother. I said in the Quran. In the Quran. So I'm saying, brother.
But doesn't the Quran say it came to confirm what came before it?
That's fine. That's fine. But I'm saying.
When do you confirm something, bro? When there's a doubt, that's when.
Hold on. Wait. Let's do with Gab's thing specific. That's why, because I want your stuff to be.
You don't confirm something if it's already perfect, do you?
Let me re-ask this, right? Is there a new commandment in the Quran that we cannot find in the older scriptures?
100. That's the point.
Good question.
Sorry,
good question.
Is that in Kemet scriptures? Is that any scriptures or just the Torah and the Injil and Zabur?
Yeah, let's just with the scriptures that the Quran mentions. Even though there is more scriptures mentioned in the Quran, but let's just leave it to those 3.
I can't think of. I mean, all I know is for instance, we don't have to follow the Sabbath. Is that what you mean, Kalam? Is that what you're saying?
So you don't have to follow the Sabbath, right? But that's something. But the Jews do have to follow the Sabbath, right?
Yeah.
You mean from the Quranic perspective?
Yeah, that's taken away.
Yeah.
Certain laws were abrogated. Certain laws can be kept the same.
But Kalam's question was, what law is in the Quran that's not in the Torah? We're not asking what's been abrogated from the Torah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hear that.
What you're getting at is the no-eyed laws, isn't it? That's the common.
Even the abrogation claim's weak, bro.
Weak, fam.
You know why it's weak? And it's weak because Omar established, Sharia law, Islamic law, and when he couldn't find it in the Sunnah, couldn't find it in the Quran, he went to the Torah, and they had a scholarly process, which decided how to apply certain things, which changed due to consensus in the time of all 4 rightly guided caliphs. The laws did not stay exactly the same. Yeah, they changed due to the scholars and the Yasus. What's the process? What's the scholarly process that they use?
Ijtihad.
Ijtihad?
No, there's a process that they.
That's you talking abrogations.
No, he's talking about ijtihad. I think
consensus, you mean, bro? Consensus.
No, he's talking about.
It doesn't matter. Like, are you listening, Ali or Isa? You might need to answer this question because obviously you were dealing with Gabs for a minute. But that line of questioning is finished now.
Hold on. Wait, brother.
Yeah, man. Someone answer that question, please. What Kalam asked is, what's new? What's new? What?
I'll come to you, Ziriab. One sec. Let me just deal with Raspect. Brother Raspect, you've mentioned it several times about Umar bin Khattab and what he did. In no place in Islam is anything that Umar bin Khattab innovated or done is to be recognized as Islam. That was the results of Umar bin Khattab and his religion as a usurper of the Khalifa.
No, but come on, let's be fair. There's been numerous incidents recorded where Umar was checked by women. Yeah, he made up a ruling. A woman checked him. So this just shows you that this is all out in the open. And then he would turn around and say, everyone's more clever than Umar. So
exactly. So he shouldn't have been.
He also, just like all the other people, said, "Look, if there's anything from me that is correct, then take it. If there isn't, then leave it." So these men didn't pretend to be infallible so that if they made mistakes, you have to say that, oh, it's their fault. They were the first and foremost to say that if we make mistakes, it's ours.
All right.
And don't.
They were the ones most scared of making mistakes.
Let's see if you're telling the truth. Let's see if you're telling the truth. Hold on. Wait a second. Let's see if you're.
No. Let's not operate from the question, right?
Yeah, what's the question?
Thing, right? That Islam, the Quran, brought new that the previous scriptures did not have.
Is there anything it brought new commandments? Is what you said. I can't think of any commandments that are new, bruv.
So technically speaking,
Pray 5 times a day.
No, so technically speaking, right? The Christians and the Jews can be the best Christians and be the best Jews, and there's no harm on them doing that, right?
The point.
That's what
Kafirs. Oh, the key word has been happened. The key word has happened. The key word has happened. Can I get all of you guys to jump in real quickly? Been kicked out. Be quick. Old Funky's just jumped in. Oh my gosh, it's going down.
Now, Kalam, now we need to stay on this point for a hot minute still.
But as the point I was trying to get to, right? This is the reason why I threw the question in from the get-go.
Yeah, man. We're in a good place right now. So wait, the brothers have just admitted there's no new commandments in the Quran, but yet they call the people who follow the older scriptures Kafirs. This is madness, bro.
There we go.
Yeah, but that's just false equivalency, bro. Like, if there's certain people who are idiots and calling other people of the book Kafirs, then that's on them. But come on, man. Like, we know that in the Quran, in fact, it was mentioned earlier on in the panel that the Jews say that only a Jew will enter paradise, and the Christians say only a Christian. And this is just their vain desires. This is just their vain. Same way now Muslims are making the same argument. So we know that this idea or this appellation of Kaffir to people of the book is nonsense. In fact, in another verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that whoever does good will find that good with their Lord. Yeah. So come on. Like,
and it specifically mentions the Jews and Christians, or those that follow the Torah and the Injil, yeah, in that verse?
Yeah. Those who follow the Torah and Injil, and do righteousness and believe in the last day.
Yeah.
Have nothing
Say,
to fear.
You know that. So boom.
Yeah. No,
so
I hear that.
But why are Muslims? This is why I say,
all right,
full of shirk. Because if the Quran says, that the Jews and the Christians and the Sabians have nothing to worry about, who are these men following, bro?
But brother, that's fine. But there is a context. This is what I'm saying to you. The question is, in relation to the situation we're in now, where there is no caliphate, there is no rulership, so when there is no Sharia law established, then what does this word kafir mean? Do you get what I'm saying? It's more of a slur that's used. It doesn't seem to have
exactly. But you know what it is? This is what I wanted to ask earlier, because when the brother pulled up the etymology of the word, it came up as covering it. But what I want to know is when the word changed from being cover to somebody who's a denier, like when did that happen? Like, I've got a feeling that's after the time of the Prophet. Get me?
No. It's in the Quran. It has that all over the place, but it's not specific in the sense of just a person who doesn't believe in Islam.
No, but like Kalam said earlier, when Muhammad was walking around and the Jews, the Christians, the pagans were all there, when he said the word kafir, they would have understood that as a cover in it. You know what I'm saying? So look,
not necessarily. I would say not necessarily. Like, if he used it, I mean, I don't find any record where he's using it like we use it today. Like, we say, you kafir. Do you get what I'm saying?
Exactly. That's my point, fam. That's my point. So
I'm not saying he didn't, but I don't find any particular use, because guaranteed if there was, that would be one of the most quoted hadith amongst those people. You get me?
Yeah, definitely. Nah, but that's my point, no. Cause look, if Muhammad wasn't using it in that sense, and linguistically it doesn't mean that. When did it become this derogatory slur? Like, when did that happen?
You can't escape. Like, for instance, the concept, what it is, the root word and the words derived from it. So kafara is the root word, which means to cover.
And it's
so the word
agriculturalist as well. when they sow the
No,
seeds.
no. It's using all kind of things. But what my point is, it's usage as in to say, well, you're covering over something. And I'm saying RASPECT continuously has demonstrated, right, in a debate where he said you're covering, and he's pointed out specifically what they're doing, which is they have just been refuted and they're starting to lie and they're now covering over the truth and they're talking rubbish
so
after that.
Yeah, Kaffir, definitely. That's partial Kaffir, 100%.
Yeah. But then I'm
But
saying, I don't think
man, all of that is the point's been made, isn't it? And those who know, but you're kind of you're flogging a dead horse, isn't it? Who are these men that you're so excited about? You know, these men that are saying these kind of things. They're idiots, isn't it? So leave them.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
let me ask you a question now, because Issa, you need to deal with this one. All right. So you man was saying a lot. You even said earlier about.
I was trying to get Gabs's question, bro.
Yeah,
I just wanted to. No, it didn't, because he's still on the prophets.
It did. Trust me. Gabs, did it get dealt with at the end? Have we come to the end point of it?
The end point. Bro, I just want to read this verse. Can you just read the verse now? Yeah, right, Gabs. They always ask this question regarding us seeing the Prophet Muhammad superior and Prophet superior. So in the Quran, chapter 2, verse 253, those messengers, some of them we caused to exceed others. Among them were those to whom Allah spoke, and He raised some of them in degree. So clearly, it's saying that we, as in the other verse, it's saying that we make no distinction among them or between them. What that means is we don't believe that Moses was a Judaism prophet for that religion, or Isa was a Christian prophet. We're saying we see them all as bringing the same fundamental principle message as Muslims. You get me? From the same God. That's what that means. Now Allah's telling you that He has ranks and stations among them. So He's letting us know there are superior prophets that are superior to other prophets and messengers. Do you understand?
Yeah, but I'm a bit confused though when you're saying that. So he's basically saying Moses and those guys are Muslims, but yet why did they call them the children of Israel? So if they're mentioned as the children of Israel, how are they now Muslims as well at the same time?
Brother, if the word Muslim is saying fundamentally that someone's submitting to Allah, then I'm sure you would agree that Moses submitted to Allah. I'm sure you'd agree that Isa bin Maryam submitted to Allah.
But yet why did they call them the children of Israel? So if they mention,
brother, he could say that these are the children of Ishmael. So what? It don't make a difference what your lineage or your nation is. Because are you trying to say that if you're Muslim, you can only be a Muslim nation? I'm saying very specifically and clearly, they're Bani Israel, the children of Israel, and they were Muslims. You know what I mean? As in they submitted. Those prophets, yes, were Bani Israel, and they submitted to Allah. There's not a contradiction there, bro. But anyway, I'm saying the main point was about the degrees of some prophets being more of a higher status than others.
Okay, so that was so that's Allah saying that He gave the ranks in the Quran, yeah.
Yeah. Chapter 2, verse 253.
Yeah. So that doesn't he made we are gonna know the different ranks, all that. Yeah, but there is definitely, yeah.
But there are some prophets superior than others in Allah's sight. Simple.
Yeah.
It is a verse in the Quran that when you're dealing with the laws and whatnot, it was a verse in the Quran that speaks about how the in Islam the brothers and sisters are allowed to eat the flesh of the fish, the lobster, the crabs, and things of that nature, whereas the Jews, they were not allowed to eat that according to the Torah. So I remember that question was asked earlier to the brother and whatnot, and he didn't answer it. But that right there may add a little bit of sauce to it. But the dietary law pertaining to fish.
I thought his question was a bit deeper than that. Still,
that's not, bro. You didn't hear the question properly. The question was, what new commandments are in the Quran that are not in the previous books? That's not a new commandment.
That's just that is a law. That is that in the in the Torah, it gives the dietary law pertaining to the fish. That was clear what they can eat and what they could not eat. In the Quran, it speaks about everything from the sea being permissible to
No,
us.
no, that's a lie because the Shias don't eat. The Shias eat the same as us. They don't eat the prawns. They don't eat the shellfish. They don't eat.
Well, according to you have many Muslims, brother, that eat shrimp,
100
crab.
Yeah, you're right.
They're going to tell you that all that's halal. They're going to tell you that that's
100,
halal.
and you're gonna have a hard time proving what you're saying, Ezra, from the Quran. So it sounds like confirmation bias. It sounds like you like the Shia's perspective because it aligns with yours.
No, what I'm saying is, like not all Muslims. He was just speaking for all Muslims, saying that we do this. I'm saying no, not all Muslims have that same.
You're right.
Look, exactly. You get me?
You're
Because
right. I tell you why.
Raza don't eat them food there.
No, you're right.
You get me? So what are you on about? He follows the same
Well, I
law.
can dig it when you say. I can dig it when you say that all Muslims. I can't speak for all Muslims because everybody's individual. I can't speak for all Muslims.
Sorry, brother. Can I just say something? This is more of a. The thing is, what is you bringing more of a jurisprudential issue up, and when it comes to matters of, like what we say is matters of fiqh, there can be scholarly differences of opinion. And that's the way how the text is approached. For example, the moon sighting, as a general example to you guys. Why do some Muslims differ on the days they do it? Some families may do Eid on one day, another family may do Eid another day. Another family may commence the fast on one day, another one may commence it the day after, or even the day before. This is because the way Muslims have approached those certain passages and the way they've understood them. So, for example, some countries share the same moon horizon. So those countries which share the same moon horizon, if they were to sight the moon first, then all those other countries which would share the moon horizon with them would also observe the fast on the next day, or they would observe the Eid the next day. Others may say, no, you have to look at the moon according to the land you live in. So with the issue of fish and these type of things, yes, this is a jurisprudential issue, and this type of dispute even exists within Judaism. Some Jewish scholars may consider certain practice or belief to be mandatory. Others may consider it to be recommended. Some may even consider it to be forbidden. So that's not really a major issue for me. I mean, and this is generally what the Muslims believe as well, to be honest.
All right, so let's get into some major issues. Maybe you or Isa can answer this question. Only
on one condition. You answer one of my questions after, inshallah.
All right, but I'm not representing anything. Do you think I'm saying?
No, that's fine, bro. No problem. Inshallah, I'm not representing anything. I'm just
saying. Sure. All right, cool. So yeah, you was talking about the imam and the divinely appointed imams and the leaders, the guides, and to sum up, essentially what you're telling me is that these imams have the function of spiritually guiding the people and physically, so politically guiding the people, leading the people, I should say. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, you're right, and I know where your question's going, but carry on.
All right, cool. So if you know where it's going, then how is it? What is the operative? Because I put it in the back chat actually. That's why.
Okay. So
let me just ask it, and then you can answer it however you want. So what is the operative function of the hidden imam? That is to say, what is the point of the imam? If those are the two functions of the imam, then what is this hidden imam doing?
Okay, so obviously you're talking about the topic of occultation of the 12th imam, because for us the 12th imam is an occultation. Okay, as you mentioned. So what we believe, there was two types of occultation. There was minor occultation and major occultation. And during his major occultation, he made it very clear that he was not going to be in direct contact with anyone. So his close companions at the time asked how he would, how the Muslims of that particular time, or his supporters, should, what they should do in that period. So the Imam alayhi salam gave very clear instructions to the Muslims, who obviously supported him at the time, those people who were his supporters, that they must turn to those who narrate the traditions, meaning in order to get guidance in absence of the Imam, we we refer to those narrators of traditions who would be considered our scholars and our jurists. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello?
So I've got a follow-up question on that now. Now we're going to have to open it up a little bit. So in regards to the minor occultation, but before we get into the occultation, we have to get into something I was alluding to with Isa earlier. So that is the personage of Imam Hassan al-Askari, alayhi salam, the 10th Imam, yeah?
Yeah.
So the point is, so before any quote-unquote occultation occurs, there was a visible Imam who was, let's say, for argument's sake, fulfilling those two conditions that is set out for the Imam. So he was guiding the people spiritually and he was leading them politically. That is to say, those who came to him willingly, because he didn't have a state behind him, did he? Obviously,
one sec.
No. It's okay. So Isa, before you carry on, I just want to make a point. I don't know which Imam you mentioned, but I think you might have been mentioning the 11th Imam of Islam. But the point being is, see, the problem is for us, political system of the Imam is not a mandatory part. The Imam doesn't have to establish Khilafat. It's not.
No, I'm not even getting into that. Don't sidetrack, because I'm really not trying to get bogged down on that point. I'm saying, I'm accepting that this visible Imam was doing these two things. Let's just say that, yeah, historically. All right. So now, are you going to let me carry on with the follow-up question, because you want to listen to everyone else?
Wait, brother, listen. I'm saying people don't know this thing, so it needs to be introduced. I'm saying this subject is best introduced and a little background is given, right? So people can understand, because I'm saying you two going back and forth, people are going to be thinking, what the hell are you talking about? You see what I'm saying? They need to into this, yeah? So I'm saying this topic is a brilliant topic to discuss, but I'm saying seriously, people have no idea. Do you get what I'm saying? Just think about that, yeah? So inshallah, brother Sayyid Ali Imam.
Brother, let brother Ziriyab finish, because I just want to understand his point.
Okay. Well, he wanted to arrange a proper debate, or discussion. So I'm saying, you know what I mean? This is something which,
See, the thing is, bro, before we even discuss the 12th Imam of Islam, we must discuss the first Imam. It kind of goes back to there's no point in believing the Holy Prophet, and peace and blessings be upon him, unless you're not going to believe in Allah first. In order to understand the authority of the 12th Imam, we need to understand the authority of the first Imam. Once we understood the first Imam,
what are you going to do for some?
Sorry, he left. The reason why I butted in is because me and him already agreed. We can have that discussion another time. Like you said, it makes no sense unless you give it that context. This is why I interrupted, because people are just going to be watching and thinking, what the hell? Who is this person? Who's this? Hidden Imam? You get me? They've got no background at all. Do you get me? So 15 minutes talk background, which you can both either give an introduction